Three of the Ultimate Morning Routine Challenge. I have an action-packed day ready for you guys. Incredible, incredible guests coming on to the challenge this morning. I'm just trying to inspire you with people that are, A-listers and celebrities and well-known folks, just because I want you to hear from them the impact of taking control of their morning has had on the trajectory of their life. The last 2 days have been amazing. We've talked about how to habit stack things like just as simple as our morning routine for brushing our teeth, adding a tongue scraper, adding oil pulling, adding hydroxyapatite toothpaste, adding a soft toothbrush, so that we actually start our morning off right and we're really intentional about how we care for ourselves. We've taken this morning routine all the way down to 10 minutes and expanded it all the way up to 90 minutes so it fits your schedule. 90% of what we've talked about have been actual free or low or no cost additions to your morning routine. I just want us to think about self-care as being something very intentional, because it's the little habits that we stack on top of each other day over day that make a huge difference in the trajectory of our life. Today, we are kicking things off, guys, with a legend. It's someone who embodies discipline, longevity, and morning optimization. I literally cannot think of any of my clients anywhere in the world that embodies the morning routine more than this client that's coming on this morning. Mark Wahlberg is joining us in just 1 minute to talk about his morning routine, the impact of cold plunging, the impact that his morning routine has had on his career. We're so blessed. When I reached out to him and asked him if he would join the challenge, he was in London on a movie set. He's now in France on a movie set. So I hope you guys send some really kind comments into the chat when you see him come on live. So welcome to the challenge, Mark Wahlberg. Okay, so he's, are we waiting for his, okay. So don't forget, we're waiting for him. His team is on in France, but he's coming to the table. So give me 1 more second for Mark. Don't forget, at the end of today's call, we're giving away tons of free items, promo codes for H2 Tabs, my favorite hydrogen water tablet. If you sign up to be a VIP, you're getting one of these for free. So stick around till the end of today's VIP call, and I'm going to make sure that every single one of you gets a $30 box of this for free. It's just taking your hydration to the next level. If you missed the first 2 days, we did something called ORP testing. I proved to you that simply by dropping a hydrogen tablet into your water, you can turn it into an actual antioxidant. So you ready to kick things off? We got the legend on the line. All right, let's do it, guys. Welcome, Mark Wahlberg to the chat. Yeah, that looks like a hotel room that would be somewhere in France. So we'll give him a second to get in here. I know he's on set, and they're grabbing him and bringing him over. Oh my God. But while we're waiting for Mark to join us again, adding these hydrogen tablets to our morning routine, stacking our hydration with things like mineral salts. There he is. What's up, my brother?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. You're in France?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm actually getting ready to go to dinner with my wife and my kids.
It's 6 o'clock?
It's 6:04, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love a nice early dinner, dude. Keeping it 2 hours away from bedtime. So we've been talking to these guys.
For me, this is actually late.
Yeah,
usually I'm in bed in an hour, so I'm living on the edge, baby.
I want you to talk about. I mean, listen, man. You of everyone that I know, of all the clients I've ever had in my entire career, I don't think anybody embodies a disciplined morning routine more than you do. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your morning routine, what kind of impact it's had on your career, what it's had, because you're all about faith, family, and fitness. And I know that fitness is something that's very forward in your life, clearly. But I want you to talk a little bit how it's impacted your career, why starting your morning the way you start your morning is so important. You're infamous for the 4 a.m. club. So,
I got attack at the first second. There's no procrastination. I want to make sure that I'm getting up, getting as much done as possible. And it started for a number of reasons. One was that, anytime I was doing stuff for me, it was taking away time with my family, with 4 young children. We were always kind of, kids had to get to school. So anything that I wanted to get done, I had to get beforehand with work. But the thing that I have realized more than anything is that the discipline has afforded me so much success. You know, I mean, I've been able to set these goals and accomplish them. And if there's things, look, I mean, we take big swings all the time in business and especially with work. And if things don't work out, it's never for lack of effort. And I never have to feel like I could have put in more time, more effort or energy into, achieving the goal. Some things that just the ball doesn't bounce your way, but, it's never for lack of effort. And so the more I started to become disciplined, the more successful I became at everything that I do. The balance, I was just happier. I was always kind of, accomplishing what I set out to accomplish, and feeling good about the process, and feeling good as a whole is the most important thing for me now. So eating right, exercising, getting the right amount of rest. I just want to feel good. I used to be able to, and did, burn the candle at both ends. And now for me, it's about, getting the right amount of rest, recovery, and, for me, longevity. When I met you, I was still of the old school philosophy that I need to eat 10, 12 meals a day, and train 2-3 times a day. Sometimes I was definitely doing 2 a days, and I was hard-headed in that way. And now I'm starting to just feel really good again. So once you get a taste of that, why would you do anything different?
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what it looks like, your non-negotiables for your morning routine. What does it look like from the time you get out of bed for the first 60 to 90 minutes of your day because I've talked a lot to this group about being selfish in the mornings. So in terms of engaging in self-care, so you can just give the rest of your day away. You got a lot of demands on you right now. When we spoke about being on this challenge, you were in London, you're in France now. I know you're all over the world. The last time we spoke, you were in Australia. I see you in Vegas. So I think it's important that people that don't even have that intense of a routine understand how impactful just taking control of your morning and being disciplined and intentional about your morning can change the entire trajectory of your life. So talk about that sequence.
Just having a positive outlook on life, getting on my hands and my knees is the first thing that I do, and that gives me an opportunity to first and foremost express my gratitude. And then I have a lot of people in my life that I'm praying for, and I am a person who is constantly seeking a relationship with God, looking to fulfill the purpose that He chose for me, seeking redemption for anything that I've done in my past, and bringing other people to God, or to a spiritual life that I think will help them tremendously when we deal with a lifetime in a world where you're guaranteed to suffer, deal with loss, heartache, pain, failure, all of those things. So it sets me up to just have a positive day, to be grateful and have the right perspective when moving forward through the rest of my day, right? You got a lot of grinding, you got a lot of, in business, especially, you're fighting, nobody gives anything away, and, people don't play fair. So there's a lot of that, but, the prayer first, then I'm going to have a quick coffee. I'm getting in that cold plunge. And then, I'm going to the gym.
You actually take them on set with you now. Like, you ship them.
I would show you right now. I've got one here in Paris that was sent for me. My beautiful Cold Life barrel, my portable blow up barrel. I have to have it now. I mean, I've made videos where I was getting ice delivered to my room at 2:00 and 3:00 in the morning, all over the place. But no, I can't imagine not doing it. I mean, even when I got out of my shower after, I turned the water on as cold as possible and sat there for another 2 minutes just so I could feel a little bit more energized. And then I have the best workout I've ever had. I'll do my workout, and then I'm reading my prayer book and preparing for work. I've got my scripts here. I've got I've got my prayer book here. I've got my script here that I'm doing the next movie. I've got the movie that I'm doing now and the languages that I'm learning for the film. I mean, I'm getting all my work done before anybody else is waking up. So I'm out of the gym. I've done all my reading, my working, that I can kind of get the kids up if I'm at home, and, start the rest of my day, start making phone calls depending on where I'm at. But, it helps me too with traveling, with, beating jet lag, being able to get on another schedule, that may be a 9-hour time difference, 8-hour time difference. It's been incredible.
No, that's amazing. So how much time does it take you in the morning? What's like the sequence of events? You get up, drop to your knees, you're grateful.
That's about 10-15 minutes. Every day. I'd say closer to 15 minutes every day, because I have a lot to be grateful for and a lot of people in my life that I'm praying for. And so that's 15 minutes, and then I have my coffee. I get in the cold plunge. I try to go in at least for 5-6 minutes. As soon as I go do that, I'm making my little creatine or my taking my aminos, and I'm going down there and I'm in the gym. I'm on the bike warming up for a few, and then I'm hitting whatever I'm hitting that day. And if not, I'm doing my stretch routine. So it's hour in the gym max, 5 days a week. Now I'm getting more results now, because I'm getting the right rest, the right recovery. So
dude, I love it. And you take your team along with you, dude. I see you punishing some of your boys sometimes. It's like a love-hate relationship they've got with you.
Hey, I just worked with my buddy Mike. They said they wanted to do it. And, I think especially even like with fasting, people are realizing, you don't have to go in there and do 2 hours of cardio and absolutely kill yourself, learning how to, build muscle, burn fat. But my buddies want to get in there. They just got to really commit. And, we're trying to show people that it's possible. We want people at home to realize, look, I've lived a healthy lifestyle for a long time, and I've been dedicated to fitness for decades. But there's other people who haven't, and who probably look like somebody who's watching at home. And it is possible to go out there and achieve your goals. You just got to believe in yourself. You got to make a commitment, and you got to stick with it.
Yeah, you're a big believer in discipline over motivation. I definitely know that. I know some of the mornings you get up, you're not motivated, but you're disciplined and you push yourself through it, and you never, ever, ever regret doing that. It's like the cold plunge. I sometimes don't want to get in. I've never once regretted getting out.
Yeah. No. That's the thing. I mean, there are many mornings where I'm like, oh, this sucks. But you know what? I always feel like there isn't anything I can't accomplish when I'm walking out that door. And as soon as I get started, it just kicks in. But I think the more that I do it, the more that I realize that it's such a gift. We have people right here. Right? Oh, is there a mirror? Yeah, there's a mirror. Babe, go. I'm on a Zoom. It looks beautiful. Come on. Hey.
Is that Rhea?
Yeah.
Tell her I said what's up. Oh. So a couple quick questions before we let you go. Some of the folks are asking, what prayer book are you using?
Oh, this right here, 365 Days with the Lord. I get this from a church in the Philippines. It's absolutely amazing. It's daily devotional.
Can they buy it online? Is there a place they can get that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yep. All right. 365 days of prayer.
Yeah, I've been reading this now. A friend of mine, actually named Richard, Good Shepherd Church, gave it to me as a gift one year, probably in about 2000, maybe 2008. And I've been ordering them. This is the one Christmas gift that I really look forward to. And I have to make sure that I get it on Christmas and I take it with me on our, New Year's end of the year holiday, so I can start fresh. But I haven't missed a day since I first started reading the book, and I highly recommend it to anybody.
They want to know if you've got a skincare routine.
You know what? I do. You'd be surprised now. Eating right, exercising, clean living right now has been the best routine. But I just use a little aloe gel on my face, and then I'll do a little moisturizer, and then I use regular body wash, and then a little bit of lotion.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't do facials or none of that.
And what's a typical day of diet look like for you? What's a typical day of eating look like for you?
Big breakfast. So probably I'll have, maybe 4 eggs, scrambled or over easy, whole eggs. Maybe have like a clean, lean pork chop right now, smoked salmon, little yogurt, blueberries.
Okay. And then final question, man. What helps you become more disciplined? For somebody that actually wants to develop a morning routine that is just getting started, I mean, you had to start somewhere. At some point, it just became what you do, or who you are, not what you do. What are some tips that you could throw out for these guys to help them become disciplined?
Well, I really want people to understand, everything that we do is super aspirational. People think, oh, well, if I, had the job that Mark has, I would do the work too. But I got the job because of the work that I do and the discipline that I have. and the effort that I've put in. There isn't anything you can't accomplish if you're willing to do the work. Trust me, reward yourself with hard work and self-care. You know what I mean? It's the best gift that you can give anybody. It's the best example that you could be to your spouse, your significant other, your children, people around you. You know, life is beautiful. You want to be as healthy as possible. And, you know, it will do you wonders. You will see drastic change in every other aspect of your life once you start, you know, being disciplined and taking care of yourself.
Super agree with you, man. Super appreciate you, Mark. This was incredible. I appreciate you taking the time to share all this insight with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time in Vegas.
I got to tell you, this one right here.
Yes.
She's more disciplined than me.
Uh-oh. Are you a cold plunger?
She's not cold plunging yet, but she's training. She'll dip her toe in there. With all the riding she's doing, the training, the competing she's doing, she'll get in there.
Yeah, dude. My wife was slow getting in there too, man. She's thin like her and didn't originally start on the cold plunge routine, but now she doesn't miss a day.
I love it. I just got out of one. I did my
nice. I can't get my wife.
She came in here in a parka.
I did. I came in a parka because I'm still chilly.
It's funny. My wife says she doesn't like the cold, but yet she'll put the air condition on, 60 degrees and freeze me out. But then she doesn't like cold water. Doesn't make any sense. But I'll get her there.
I think it always will be.
She does. She said she'll do the cold plunge in the summer. We'll do it in Vegas.
All
right, Ray. I'm going to hold you to that.
Let's do it. We'll do it together. We'll do a team cold plunge.
Yeah, we'll do a team cold plunge. I love you, brother, man. Your level of discipline's next level, and I know your audience is walking away with some serious motivation. I appreciate your time this morning.
I love you, brother. Hey, thank you for sharing so much knowledge with me and helping me to kind of get on the right path to my, longevity journey. I appreciate it, brother.
You're welcome, man.
God bless you.
Appreciate you too.
Bye, guys.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
All right. So, any words of wisdom you want to lay down before I take over to the whiteboard?
We've got all kinds of words of wisdom. I'm excited
about your morning routine.
About my morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
or whatever you're excited about.
I did good this. I always do something. I cold plunge is a non-negotiable. I do that every day because it really does help my back. And I love my coffee routine, which I talked about yesterday. I love my, I did my hydrogen tablets this morning. I ate my protein. I haven't had my perfect aminos yet, but I just do it. Once you get used to it, it just becomes a thing, and it makes me feel better. So I know if I miss it, that was stupid. So I might as well just stick to it. I have it all in one cabinet too. I think that's another
psycho
key.
Organized. Like this is like serial murderer level organization going on in her closet. I am not kidding.
Yeah.
Color coordinated, size coordinated, labels all turned, like the freaky stuff that you see in the movies, kind of like labels lining up.
He's not good at it.
My closet's a mess.
Yeah. But it keeps me, if I have all the things in one space, so put all the things in one cabinet and then you'll stick to it. If you have all your vitamins in one spot, if you have all the, we've got our trays. I make sure I am the vitamin Nazi in our house.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure everybody's on their vitamins. Have you taken your vitamins today?
I have.
Okay, good job. Anyway.
All right, awesome. We've got, thank you, sweetie. We've got 10 more minutes until Dr. Barbara Sturm. I told you I'm going to action pack today, guys. Mark Wahlberg, Dr. Barbara Sturm in the VIP group. We've got Lauren Redinger, one of the few true female billionaires in the world from shop.com, Market America. We've got lots of guests for you guys today, but there are a few points that I wanted to make, and I want to go to the whiteboard and talk a little bit about the science because we only have a few minutes until Dr. Barbara Sturm gets on board, and she's going to talk about why movement in the morning is non-negotiable, especially if you want a better metabolism, longevity, and energy. We also talk often about the 30-30-30 method. I got lots of questions from you guys about what is 30-30-30. It was not something I invented. It was actually popularized by Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Body. And there's a reason why I promote 30-30-30. And women especially, I want you to listen up because there's a priority to how the body uses energy. And there are no exceptions to this rule. And that priority is as follows. It's a law. And essentially, it's the law of how the body metabolizes and utilizes energy. And it essentially goes like this. If you have glucose in your blood, high levels of glucose, your body will always prioritize that energy first. as your glucose is depleted, it never goes to zero, you would die, but as your glucose level comes down, your liver is paying attention to this, right? And if you haven't eaten, so in other words, exercising in a fasted state, if you haven't eaten, as your blood sugar begins to drop, the liver will take stored sugar, which is called glycogen, and it will actually turn that sugar, that stored sugar, glycogen, into glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis, production of new glucose. And it's really interesting for those of you that have ever actually ever put on a constant glucose monitor, or CGM, that little patch you put on your arm. It has a tiny little needle that allows it to read your blood sugar. What freaks people out, and I get this question all the time, is, I wake up in the morning, I start moving around, and all of a sudden my blood sugar starts to rise. Like, how is my blood sugar rising and I haven't even eaten? And people think the monitor's broken. No, that's your liver attempting to save your life. I mean, this is why the intelligent design of the human body is just so inspiring to me, because that liver stores that glycogen and then it feeds it back into your bloodstream in the form of glucose. Now, what happens when you run out of glycogen? In other words, there's no more reserve to create blood sugar. Now there's a little bit of a fork in the road. You can get energy from lean muscle, you can get energy from fat, and depending on how you're exercising, those two sources will be prioritized. So I tell people this: if you are going to exercise in a fasted state, you have to be taking something called Perfect Amino. I'm not trying to push a product on you, but this is a product that has all 8 of the essential amino acids. It has 1 of the conditionally essential amino acids. It does not break a fast. It's 99% utilized. It is equivalent to 29 grams of whey protein. So if you're not somebody who likes to feed before you exercise, make sure you take amino acids before you exercise, and not BCAAs. Branched chain amino acids are only 3 of the 8 essential amino acids: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. There are some not so well conducted research, decades ago, that looked at branched chain amino acids, and they said these are the amino acids that are metabolized directly at the muscle level. So we'll just take those whenever we're exercising. So guys, if you're just taking BCAAs, throw those in the trash or finish using them and get a full spectrum essential amino acid, meaning something that your body can use to build all of the proteins in your body from the essential amino acids. Remember, as soon as you get below a single one of the essential amino acids, your body will turn the rest of those into fat or into sugar. So essential amino acids are crucial. All right, I want to take 5 minutes to highlight a clinical study. So I'm going to go to the board real quick. This is important, so I wanted to get this out of the way before Barbara comes on board. Really interesting clinical trial of the efficacy of morning versus afternoon aerobic exercise. Listen, if the only time you have to exercise is in the afternoon, exercise in the afternoon. If it's in the evening, exercise in the evening. By all means, do not skip exercising. But if you have the choice of doing it in the morning or other points of the day, what does the research say about what is the best time to do it? And this was specifically looking at training to reduce metabolic syndrome components, okay? And this was a randomized clinical trial. I'm going to link this in the show notes. So if you're a science nerd like I am and you want to actually go look this trial up, please take the time to do so. What is metabolic syndrome that is affecting nearly 60% of adults in America and almost 14% of our children? Metabolic syndrome is a complex of conditions that is measured by high triglycerides, high fat in your blood, extended waist circumference, meaning peripheral belly fat, elevated blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, and low HDL, high density lipoprotein, the healthy cholesterol that you get from saturated fats and you get from taking omega-3 fish oils. You don't have to have all of these to have metabolic syndrome. You have to have 2 of the 5. 60% of us have, well, not me, but 60% of the world has 2 of these 5. Elevated triglycerides, increased waist circumference, low high density lipoprotein, HDL cholesterol, high blood sugar, and elevated blood pressure. So what happened in the control group that did not exercise versus the group that exercised in the evenings versus the group that exercised in the mornings? This is fascinating, guys. So this part of the chart here, this is why I selected this study, because I thought that this chart did a really good job of showing the difference. So this was the metabolic syndrome Z-score, meaning how much did it affect their blood sugar, their waist circumference, their their blood pressure, their cholesterol, all of these different metabolic factors. A drop of 52% in the AM exercisers. So just by shifting their exercise routine to the morning, they had a 52% reduction in the compound syndrome of metabolic syndrome. That is astounding. It made them more insulin sensitive. It actually improved their fatty acid metabolism. It raised their HDL cholesterol, their high density lipoprotein, the good cholesterol. You can also do that by adding an omega-3 fatty acid. It reduced their blood sugar and had a positive effect on their blood pressure. In the group that exercised in the PM, it wasn't that there were no benefits. They had a 19% improvement in those symptoms. And the people that didn't exercise at all over the same period of time had a 4% worsening in their systems. This is why doing nothing is a non-starter, guys. Doing nothing is an absolute non-starter. Something is better than nothing. So nothing is your worst choice. You're going to actually continue the metabolic syndrome. PM exercising, almost a 20% reduction in metabolic syndrome. So if you only have the nighttime, absolutely do that. And then by just shifting, I'm just trying to give you the least that you can do for the biggest impact. So if you're going to do the exercise and can shift it to the morning, a 52% reduction in their metabolic index score. Amazing. So Barbara Sturm is we still got 5 minutes? Okay, because I'm trying to talk like super really fast. And this was a really, really good study because they compared this over a 16-week period of time. So not too short. This was 4 months of training in the morning versus 4 months of the identical training session in the afternoons or evenings, and the impact that it had on your metabolism. So wouldn't it be interesting if, and I promise you every single one of us could do this if you were intentional about it. A lot of people tell me they don't have the time in the mornings. And one of the reasons why I brought Mark Wahlberg on here is because I doubt anybody on this Zoom call right now is busier than Mark Wahlberg. And so what has he done? He's actually sacrificed his nights to get his mornings back. I don't know if you were on the call just a few minutes ago. He said he was going out to dinner at 6 o'clock in France, but he said it's actually late for him to go to dinner because he's usually in bed by 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I'm not saying that you have to go to bed that early, but imagine if you just shifted your bedtime up a single hour, right? And if you saw the circadian clock yesterday, you know what a positive impact that will have on your sleep score. Every one of us, I promise you, can get to bed an extra hour earlier. If you're intentional about your evenings, you can get to bed an hour earlier. Maybe for the next week, without adding a penny to your budget, a dime to your budget, why don't you try for the next 7 days being intentional about going to bed an hour earlier and be very intentional about not eating 2 hours before that time. So if you go to bed at 11, be intentional about going to bed at 10 p.m. Stop eating your last meal by 8 p.m. Just that small shift. Capture that hour back in the morning and take that hour that God gave you and use it to address metabolic syndrome. Use it to be selfish so that you can be selfless the rest of the day. Use it to actually care for yourself so you can give the rest of your day away. My team, everyone in this room, there's a half a dozen people sitting behind this camera right now. Maybe I should spin it around and show you how hard they're working to answer your questions. But my team knows that nothing goes on my schedule before 11 a.m. There's a reason why this challenge is at noon and not 9 o'clock in the morning, because that would interrupt my morning routine. I travel. I will do 9 cities in 11 days. I did 101 stage talks last year. I did over 50 podcasts, other people's podcasts. I run 4 podcasts a month. I do 2 shorts a month. I do tons for my VIP community. The only way that I can be so selfless with my time is because the first 90 minutes of the day only belongs to me. It doesn't even belong to my kids. It doesn't belong to Sage. It doesn't belong to you guys. It doesn't belong to my partners, my career, nothing. It belongs only to me, and the balance of the day I give to everybody else. So super inspiring to have Mark on this morning. Imagine, guys, this is what you're getting in my free challenge. Imagine what you're going to get in my VIP group. I really want to implore you guys to pay $97. Just join the VIP group, run it for a month. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. I am building an army of like-minded people, just like Mark Wahlberg. Even he made a comment about how it impacted him to just work with me and learn to shape his day and his mornings. We're going to talk about whole food dieting, exercise, not just our morning routine, but sleep tips. metabolic syndrome, autoimmune conditions, everything that we can do to help you and your family live the healthiest, longest, happiest life possible. So we're going to bring Barbara Sturm to talk to us about skincare. If you don't know Dr. Sturm, we switch cameras? Yep. If you don't know Dr. Sturm, she is the owner, founder of Dr. Sturm Cosmetics. She is a dear, dear friend of mine. Sage was just with her, with my daughter in Switzerland. She's calling in from her Swiss chalet in Stade, Switzerland, which is arguably one of the most beautiful places in the world. Barbara, you are a beautiful human being. Thank you for taking some time to share a skincare routine with us and give these guys some tips.
I love you. I'm so happy to see you, and congratulations on everything you do. It's fantastic teaching everybody. That's major. Thank you.
The message is resonating. Yeah, it's definitely resonating.
And you know what's so funny? I tell my team, not before 11. Not before 11. I have to work out. I have to do all these things. Otherwise, I cannot function. So it's so funny that you say that.
That's exactly what I was just saying.
Yes. Funny.
So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your morning routine over there in Stade. And I would love for you, I'm sure all of my audience is sitting on the edge of their seat right now on what are some of the best skincare tips that you can give us, especially for adult onset acne, for their kids that are suffering from acne, and just you have bright, beautiful skin. I won't tell anybody how old you are, but you do not look your age.
I love you. Thank you. Oh my God, this made my day.
I would love for you to talk about the best morning routine for your skincare, and simple, and some of your non-negotiables in the morning for how you care for your skin.
But I have to tell you, this changed also quite a bit with you. But when I hit a certain age, and I moved to Switzerland because I thought, if I live in the city, I go in the office, be there every morning. I'm just working. I forget about all my things, my sports, everything I love about nature, and I won't be the best myself. And also we come to an age where we just need to stay healthy. Otherwise we really fall down and it's not working for us anymore. And when I moved here, my mental health, everything was just so much better because, I live in the mountains, I live in the nature. My morning routine is basically going skiing in the morning for my workout. Yeah, I'm outside, I'm in the forest. I breathe the oxygen. These are my breathing techniques. Although sometimes, obviously, I also do Gary's breathing techniques, which he taught me here in Stade. All these things are so important to have your oxygen, your light, being out in the nature, healing for your body, anti-inflammation coming from nature, and everything we do to keep us fit and healthy. And that is really the key. But what I do in the morning, first thing, I drink a ton of water. I drink a ton of water. It's hard to, but I drink almost a liter right in the morning, first thing, with lemon. And I don't know what you think about this. I take a tablespoon of salt, teaspoon of salt.
That's my jam.
Yes. So I do all the things, and I have a coffee. I have to say I need my coffee in the morning, but I know Gary does
no
this
issues
too.
with coffee.
Yeah, so that's fine. We do that. And and then I bring my kid to school. I still have a 10-year-old I have to bring to school every morning. So we have to be on time. And this is how my morning starts. And then I'm back home at 8:15. Then my ski guide comes and we go out. And this is, if you go skinning up the mountain, if we just go on the slopes, if you go on powder, whatever it is, makes my heart jump. I'm grateful. That is another thing I find super important for our life, being grateful every day. If you have something you can be grateful for, this is life-changing. And I used to not have this much. Now I do have it because I feel like blessed living this life in nature. So that's just me, but I'm sure everybody has something like this. And when it comes to skin, I want to look in the mirror and I want to like my skin. I don't want to be, I just want to have something, where I look in the mirror and just oh, wow, that's nice. And I see it with my 10-year-old. She has the most amazing skincare routine. She does
she really does.
Oh my God, and her skin, and she's glowing, and oh my God. And you would say, of course, she's young, but no, they're really thorough with their skincare routine. They know right and wrong. And obviously she's my daughter. I'm teaching her about ingredients, and I'm teaching her this you cannot use, this you cannot use, this you have to be careful for about, and that's important. So this is what we need to teach our children who are obsessed with skincare, as you know, Gary. We talked about it so much, and there's so many dangers out for the next generation, but also for ourselves. I was just with a friend for lunch, and she told me, oh, I'm using this product, and, you know, I like it. And, you know, the first thing I went into the ingredient list. I said, no, there's too much silicone in there. There's so many ingredients you shouldn't have on your skin. You know, yeah, it makes you feel like the sudden effect is so nice because of all the silicone, but it's just not good for your skin. So, you know, just stay away from ingredients that not, you know, benefit your skin and cause inflammation on your skin.
So what are, for people who want better skin, less inflammation, long-term health, what's one non-negotiable morning habit that you recommend for their skin?
So I always say you need to have a serum and a cream. So when I was younger, I just had a cream, and, you know, that's how I started, and that was great. But then I started really using certain serums in my routine. And that is a very innovative, very modern, scientific way of taking care of your skin, because the serums, for example, our hyaluronic serum or the super anti-aging serum, is a serum which is shooting down into deeper skin layers quite fast. And, you know, I always compare the raisins with the grapes. The raisins are the dehydrated skin cells, and the grapes are the hydrated skin cells. And obviously the grapes look better on our skin, but obviously also the grapes have better osmosis channels to bring in active ingredients. So a hyaluronic serum, whether it's the super anti-aging serum or our hyaluronic serum, is a must-have in your skincare routine. It's non-negotiable, and it makes sure that your skin is balanced, because an unbalanced skin is the skin which gets breakouts, rosacea, eczema, aging, everything which is unbalanced we don't want for our skin. The best
is this hyaluronic acid that you're holding in your hand?
Yes, the hyaluronic acid. This is the super anti-aging serum. This is the hyaluronic acid, and this is a game changer.
But that's what you mean when you say serum.
Yes, and Gary, we just did clinical testing, and it's proven that it slows down skin aging. I mean, what I already knew, but now it's like proven black on white. It slows down skin aging, which is great. This hyaluronic serum has different molecule sizes, shoots in different skin layers, makes grapes everywhere, what we want, because we need to keep our cells also working, alive, and ready to go through all the cell divisions, because the lack of cell divisions is the life-limiting factor, right? So we have, for example, a telomerase activator in here, Purslane, which is amazing.
I mean, she's talking so fast, guys. Telomerase activator. Let me just pause right there for a second. Telomeres are the distal ends of our chromosome, and their length is highly related to cell life. And so, you know, one of the things that all of the anti-aging science is trying to do is lengthen telomeres. So if you can do things that lengthen your telomeres, like hydrogen water, and I gave you the study on that yesterday, or like hyaluronic acids, then this is actually improving the quality or the caliber of your skin at a subcellular level.
And that is in all our skincare products. That's the ingredient I started my line with, because I was always obsessed with telomerase activation, anti-inflammation, hydration, nutrition, exosomes, everything Gary's talking about to you every day. This has been my daily bread and butter for many, many years. I created the Vampire Facial 25 years ago. So I'm really familiar with all these like life extending, beautiful methods we can use from the inside and out. And here it's from the out. So another product you have to have, because the serum doesn't replace a face cream, the face cream doesn't replace the serum. So the face cream is also important, because you need these beautiful lipids and ceramides for your skin barrier. So that needs to be really stabilized. Skin barrier, you all know, that's the outer layer of our body, and it's utmost important that we keep it stable and balanced, because it's a protection function. So if we now come with all these aggressive ingredients like retinol, glycolic, hydroquinone, acid peels, name it, all these resurfacing products, you destroy your skin barrier. And then you have something when the skin barrier is destroyed, which is called transepidermal water loss. And bacteria can go in, you lose water and hydration, and that makes us age. not just visible aging, but also aging for our cells, for our tissues. And that's what we want to prevent here in this session with Gary. This is the exact time when we want to talk about, keeping our organs intact and keeping them as best as possible and not bringing the future closer to us. Right, Gary?
Yeah, we used to always talk about borrowing from the future. Barbara and I actually ran a clinical trial. It wasn't published, but we did a clinical trial. We should actually publish that.
We need to talk about this again, Gary.
Yeah. We ran the study. It came out amazing. We never published it, and then we both got super busy and didn't do anything with it. But essentially, what it was we took punch biopsies from different aged women, 26, 44, 56, and a woman over 60. I forget her exact age. Essentially, what the lab did was they used these punch biopsies to culture their cells, their skin cells, called fibroblasts, in a lab. And we introduced Barbara's cream that she's holding, that lipid cream with the fats in it. And we actually embedded something called exosomes in there, which are these nanoparticles that are derived from a stem cell. And what we wanted to do was have the lab test every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to see if the exosomes would remain self-stable, because exosomes are 1/800th the size of a cell. So they can actually pass right through the cell wall, carry these growth factors, they can carry high molecular weight, hyaluronic acid, and they can reduce inflammation. And the study came out incredible. They were still viable after 90 days. Every one of those skin cells had signs of reduced inflammation. They measured inflammatory markers. It's our study. So if you're actually interested in it and you'd like to see it, I'll send it to you. It was done by Dr. Rafael Gonzalez at his BioBox laboratory, which is an FDA laboratory out in California. What I thought was really interesting was the lipids that she had in this skincare product would hold these exosomes and then deliver them right into the cell. And interesting things started to happen in 60 days and 90 days. We saw something called angiogenesis, which is the production of new blood vessels, which I would argue is the genesis of youthful skin. We saw reduction in inflammatory cytokines inside the cell and in the serum around the cell. So Barbara is not just a skincare expert. She's also a medical doctor. This is why her line is called Dr. Barbara Sturm. So I just want you to know that she's highly qualified to speak on this topic. And the hyaluronic acid is not an expensive product. It's not, and I'm not here to push products on you guys, but for those of you that are already using a cream, the serum for hyaluronic acid is not expensive. And remember that hyaluronic acid can actually bind 1,000 times its weight in water. A molecule of hyaluronic acid can bind 1,000 molecules of water.
Yeah, dehydrated skin or dry skin is never an option. Dry skin makes us age and gives us all the problems we don't want. So hydration is a big, big step forward in your skincare routine.
Yes.
And here, by the way, it's like an exosomatic product.
Oh, that's the exosomes. Yeah.
So
yeah,
we have
amazing.
like a serum with exosomes, which is also a game changer. That's also a serum you can put in your routine. So if you want to have a routine of these 3 products, you have your hyaluronic serum, your exosomatic, and your face cream. And this could be it for you. And you add your cleanser and maybe an enzyme cleanser for mild exfoliation, but it doesn't have to be more than that. And obviously, when you're in Miami or somewhere in the mountains, and you have to use your sunscreen, obviously, as well.
Yeah. And in terms of sunscreens, because, we know that 23 brands of sunscreen have been pulled from the market since 2018 for indirectly or directly causing skin cancer. What are some? I use a beef tallow with zinc oxide. What's the name of my brand? Dan Man.
You don't use my product, Gary. I'm so disappointed.
I do use your product in the morning. I just don't use the sunscreen. But I do. I mean, if I took this camera into my both Sage and I use your product in the morning. I put your hyaluronic acid
sun drops
on.
are great. You drop them in your cream, you mix it, and then
and I take it on the plane every time I fly. It actually feels amazing.
But we also need the sun, guys. We don't have to be too scared of the sun unless you have like a history of, skin cancer, or you have super fair skin. We have to balance a little bit, catching some sunlight as well. That's so important because there's also something in our skin called nitric oxide, and that gets released when the sun touches the skin, and it vasodilates our vessels, and then the blood flow to the heart, our heart diffusion is so much better, and it reduces heart disease actually as well, on top of everything else the sun does.
I am so glad that you said that, because for those of you that have been here all 3 days, we actually talked about microvascular circulation on the first day. If I can take you back to that talk, remember 70% of our circulatory system not circulated by the heart, done by an activity called vasomotor, like a snake swallowing a mouse. And what affects this circulation is sunlight. That's why photobiomodulation, red light beds are so good. But I always like to emphasize the fact that, you know, you don't have to go out and spend $120,000 on a red light bed. Barbara and I have the same one. You can expose your skin to sunlight. God gives this to us every day. How could sunlight reduce your blood pressure? By releasing nitric oxide in the small vesicles, those small capillaries, causing them to vasorelax or vasodilate and dropping your pressure. What was
they did a study on this, Gary. They did a study. They were asking people how long they're spending time in the sun, and it turned out that people who spend more time in the sun live longer.
Well, we know that about that comes from population mortality data too, around the equator. We actually knew in population mortality that the longest life expectancies were centered right around the equator. For every 20 degrees of longitude or latitude, for latitude that we went away from the equator, there was a precipitous drop in life expectancy until you got to the poles, where true Eskimos had the shortest life expectancy on Earth.
But Gary, the problem with you know, being so scared of the sun is also the way we treat our skin. So if you go to a dermatologist, they tell you, do an acid peel, do retinol, do glycolic, do lasers. So basically, instead of taking care of your skin, they're telling you to destroy your skin. And then they have to tell you, you need to use sunscreen 24/7 because we just really embraced your skin and scrubbed it off and whatever we did to it. And then everybody becomes so scared because they get told you need to use sunscreen 24/7, but you really need to also not hurt your skin. If you keep your skin healthy and functioning, we also have protection tools within the skin. That doesn't mean that you should sit in Miami Beach at noon and putting your body into the sun. This is not what I'm saying.
I'm so pumped to be here with you guys. Is everyone feeling good after day one?
And how you
did you prioritize yourself in the morning when you woke up?
You protect
put
your skin,
yourself
because
first
only if you protect your
early
skin,
in the day,
your skin
so you
can
give the
protect you
rest
back.
of your day away.
Yeah.
That's so
So the most
important.
asked question,
That
Barbara,
self-care in the
what
morning,
does
that
your
time
diet
that
look
belongs
like?
only to you, especially
So
my
I'm-
female audience.
Oh,
Did
but
you
I'm-
do your sunlight
since
tracker,
I'm
guys? Did you get sunlight in your eyes today? Did you
17,
let some
I'm
sunlight
on an
hit your skin, or at least
anti-inflammatory
get a
diet.
window
For some
open
reason, I
and get your
was a
eyes out into
big
natural
sports
sunlight?
person.
This
when
is
I was
all
a kid, I
about
was playing
accountability
tennis and
and starting
I
to
would just
build
eat
the
pasta
habits
and
that you
meat
can
and
take
all
with
of
you
the stuff
anywhere
for
in the world that are
sports people.
portable in
And
any
then I
time
decided
zone,
I
in
don't want to
any
eat meat.
country, in any
I just want to
place,
eat healthy, and I started
and really
eating
set
like
the
an
tone for you to
anti-inflammatory
actually have a
diet,
routine
and
that your
that's
body
up
can
till
tie
today. I
into.
really love
Because
healthy
remember, our
food.
circadian
I
clock
get
is
products
one of the
from the
most
region,
disrupted
from the
biorhythms in
farms.
the world.
I really make sure
And I'm
I
going to
use
show
the
you some
right
research
oils, and
today on
Gary
what
knows
happens
so much
to our
about
bodies
what to
when we
use and
disrupt our
how to do the
circadian
right
rhythms.
shopping.
You know, I spoke
and
at
sage too.
Mar-a-Lago 2
in,
nights
in,
ago.
in the
Some of you
US,
might have
where
seen
it's a
it on
little
my
more
Instagram,
difficult
and
than
we
here
just
in
talked about
Switzerland
the
or in
state of
Germany,
our
to
country
have
right
this
now, and
shopping
why
idea.
the
But
wealthiest
I'm
nation in the world, the
fasting in the
highest spender
morning,
on
and
healthcare,
I
has
wish
the
I would
highest
fast
rates
in the
of so
evening,
many
but
chronic
socially that's
diseases.
often
Spending
not
$4.5 trillion
possible,
a year
because
on
I think
healthcare,
income canceling
leading the
is so
world
much better
in
for
morbid
us if we
obesity,
go,
type 2
if we stop
diabetes,
eating at
multiple
5
chronic
and
disease in a
really
single
have
biome,
our body
infant
rejuvenate
mortality,
and really
maternal
work on
mortality.
repairing
These are
and
not
helping
things that are
our body
happening
to
to
recover,
us.
instead
They
of
are things that
fasting
are
in the morning. But
happening
I'm just not a
within
morning
us.
person. I have my coffee,
And
and
how
then
we
I
prevent
have a
them is
proper
we
lunch,
get
and my
closer to
lunch is
Mother
mostly
Nature.
like
You know,
salads,
we've lost
and
touch
some
with each
proteins
other.
in
The
it,
human
whether
benefit that is
really
so
good food.
important. You know, I always talk about the Blue Zone
fish,
research.
and
quick questions,
And
sometimes
if,
we only got
chicken.
5
if you've
minutes
seen any of the Blue
with
Zone
you.
documentaries, or you've
So
read
should I
Dr.
apply
Walter
vitamin
Longo's
C in the morning
research, the
before my
longevity
face
diet,
suntan
or some of the
lotion?
research he's doing at
Okay, can I
USC,
tell you something about
you
vitamin C,
know
because it's very,
that
very important.
it's
So
not a
my
dogmatic
vitamin C is
diet
called the
that
good
extends
C.
our life, right?
Yeah,
When you
and the
look at
good C, it's
dieting all
called for
over
a
the
reason,
world, when you look
because most vitamin C serums are made out of L-ascorbic acid. And L-ascorbic acid just bombards your surface and destroys the surface of the skin and damages your skin barrier function. So people get sensitivity, redness, they're scared. Then again, we have the problem, oh, when I go in the sun, I get pigmentation, etc., etc. So vitamin C shouldn't be higher in concentration than 5% because of the damaging of your skin barrier. And it shouldn't be L-ascorbic acid. We, for example, use the Kakadu plum, which is like 50 times more concentrated in vitamin C than in orange. Then we use encapsulated vitamin C and I don't know the English term for glycolysiertes vitamin C.
Glycolysiertes. That sounded so beautiful.
And this penetrates the skin first before it gives all the beautiful effects, catching free radicals, rebuilding collagen, giving our skin radiance. But vitamin C now is sold to basically help with pigmentation, brightens your skin, which is the wrong thing to say, because vitamin C shouldn't be damaging your skin barrier. And that's the only reason why it brightens and, you know, helps with pigmentation. So make sure you use the right vitamin C and in the right concentration. And our vitamin C is so great for sensitive skin as well. You can use it in the morning. You do everything before also applying the sunscreen. With the sunscreen, one thing is very important, that you use the sunscreen and enough quantity everywhere, also on your ears, in the back of the head, and it has to diffuse into your skin. It has to become one with the skin, otherwise it's not working. So that's what I want to say about this.
That is awesome. I got one last question before we let you go. What is your recommendation for the best product to defend against the sun? They asked if traditional sunblocks are okay. I would say no, but what's your recommendation for that?
For sunscreens?
Yes.
I mean, I created the sun drops, which you put into your cream before applying it. So it's like basically concentrated sunblock. You put it in and you put it into your cream. You can also use it as it is. The sun drops, just pure. People love this this sunscreen. I have a supplement called Sunskin that works really well to remain your tan, to help with skin sun allergies. And from an internal sun blocking perspective, it doesn't mean you don't need to use your external sunscreen, but that is two good products recreated within Sturm.
Oh my God, Dr. Sturm, this is incredible. Thank you so much for being here, sharing all of your knowledge. I hope Sage and I see you again soon. She had such a blast.
Yeah, I miss you, Gary. You have to make some time for me as well, because you're so busy, and I love you so much and everything you do. And you're my genius. I love you. Bye everybody. Enjoy your morning challenge with Gary. Big kiss.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Sturm. Guys, I do want to address one question that came up in the chat. Somebody asked what I'm paying these celebrities or A-listers to come on to this morning challenge. I want to be perfectly clear about something. I have never once in my lifetime ever paid a celebrity to endorse a product or service, to come participate on any of my free challenges, to speak with me on any stages, to endorse me. I've never paid Dana White a dime. Stephen A. Smith was not paid to be there. He elected to be there because his life was changed by the information that I shared with him. Mark Wahlberg was not paid today. Dr. Sturm was not paid today. Lauren Rettinger is not being paid today. Alexia Clark is not being paid today. She trains my wife for free. I give her advice on navigating her health choices. But I want to be absolutely clear. Any of the A-listers or celebrities or folks like Dana White or Stephen A. Smith or Mark Wahlberg that has elected to come on here has elected to do so for free. That is an absolute fact. I will never create this artificial dogma that I'm being endorsed by celebrities because I've stroked them a check behind the scenes. I was in a relationship recently that used that type of juxtaposition to make it seem like an indirect endorsement. And I loathed that. I didn't like the fact that people that were on the other side of the camera didn't realize that celebrity was actually being paid to sit in that seat. So Dana White has never been paid a dime by me. Neither has Stephen A. Smith, neither has Mark Wahlberg, neither has Lauren Rettinger, and certainly not Dr. Barbara Sturm. These are all dear friends of mine that have been on this journey with me, and I've asked them to come inspire you guys by giving a few minutes of their time just to talk about what capturing their morning routine or red light therapy or sunlight or breath work has done for their life. So I just want to be super, super clear about that, guys. The idea is not to get on here and just feed you celebrities to have you take action on products or services. The idea is to give you information that will inspire you to make a transformation in your life so that you can go give that same information to somebody else and inspire them to make a transition in their life. One of my favorite things that I've ever done from the stage in large crowds is I will ask people that have had a life-changing experience with me that have never paid me a dime or bought a product or a service from me to raise their hand. and I make the entire room look around and see how many hands are raised. And I say, that's the power of the message. That's the power of God's message, changing lives. I am the messenger. I am not the message. This information doesn't belong to me. It belongs to humanity. It belongs to all of you guys. I'm just lucky enough to be the one that it flows through. So I just wanted to make that perfectly clear. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the free portion of day 3. I hope that you got a tremendous amount of value out of this. It was really inspiring to have Mark on here. I really hope that you have the trust and confidence to take the leap and become one of my VIPs. I really am pouring myself into this VIP group. Remember, I'm sending you a box of H2 tabs this month. I'm really putting pressure on other sponsors to really cater to this group. This is the army that I'm building that is going to change the face of humanity. Together, we can build a community that is educated to inspire people to make a transformation in their life. And so before we go, I just want to thank every single one of you. There will never be a charge for these challenges, who showed up, you took notes, you started applying these principles. This is how you take control of your energy, your health, and your longevity. And VIPs, stick around because we are about to go even deeper. And up next, we've got fitness expert Alexia Clark. She's followed by Lauren Redinger, the Shop.com Market America billionaire. And finally, we're giving away tons of free items and promo codes, including free H2 tabs for all the VIPs. If you haven't upgraded to VIP yet, this is your chance. My team will be sharing the link to upgrade, so be sure that you do that now. And if not, until next time, that's just science. Hey, VIPs, welcome back. We're about to get right into it with this afternoon's guest, Alexia Clark. I am so pumped to bring her on because not only is she an absolute powerhouse in the fitness world, but we've had her on the Ultimate Human podcast, and the results, I mean, the response from our female audience was next level. So we heard you. You wanted more insight, more strategies, more real life hacks for optimizing your workouts, building strength, and staying consistent. So who better to talk about it and break it all down than the queen of functional fitness herself, Alexia Clark. I will also say this woman has single-handedly transformed my wife's body. I mean, I am chasing Sage around like a high schooler lately. And I always text Alexia. I'm like, what have you done to her body? She put 3 or 4 pounds of pure muscle onto my wife's body, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you for everything that you've done for me, for my wife, and for the entire audience, breaking down functional fitness. So welcome to the event, Alexia.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, what's your approach to morning movement? I mean, how do you approach this in the morning?
So morning movement, I don't think people understand how important it is to get movement first thing in the morning. It doesn't only, I mean, we all know, and I've talked about this on your podcast, that exercise is going to help you with mental clarity. It's going to help you feel more positive throughout the day. But from a women's perspective, it is so extremely beneficial because women's hormones are all over the place all month long, and exercising in the morning.
You don't say.
Exercising in the morning is going to actually help balance your hormones and give you a really healthy estrogen to progesterone ratio. So if you are having PMS symptoms, if you just, feel like super hormonal, if you're going through perimenopause, it can actually help fertility. So it can do so many amazing things for women's hormones. And on top of all of that, it also improves your sleep. We know now that women need at least 30 minutes of more sleep a night than men do. It's going to help you with recovery overall. It's going to help you with your mental health. It does so much. And it doesn't have to be, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say muscle is our metabolic currency. We don't think about muscle as an organ, but it truly is. I mean, it releases endorphins. It's a sponge for glucose.
Right.
So
absolutely.
I'm right in there with you. I didn't mean to break your volume.
No, you're fine. And, talking about insulin sensitivity, women who have PCOS, a lot of the reason why they have it is because they have insulin issues. And so exercising can really help a woman who is experiencing PCOS or has an issue in that way. But when you look at movement in the morning, it doesn't even have to be a 30-minute workout or a super long workout, just 10 minutes in the morning. And that could be going on a morning walk. It could be a quick 10-minute body weight circuit. You'll see the results of balancing your hormones in just 10 minutes. For the mental aspect of it, of having the mental clarity, being more focused throughout the day, you literally only need like 5 minutes.
So how important is the consistency when you're trying to optimize your physical and your mental performance? How important is consistency day over day?
Consistency is extremely important. I think it's when you look at consistency and what a lot of people want to, when they really want to like change their life and like feel the difference mentally, emotionally, and physically, a lot of times you would think like, I just need to go super hard one day and I'll feel the results. Well, if you were to pour water, a bucket of water over a rock, you're not going to see a difference of it. But if you have that consistent dripping on a rock day after day, you're going to see a dent in it. So consistency is way more important than just how intense you're going for a week. So if you can just stay consistent in the morning or just throughout your day of being active and getting exercise in, you're going to see amazing results through every aspect of your life.
So for people who don't have time for a full workout, what's a quick and effective way to move in the morning? Let's say they have 15 or 20 minutes, and they're trying to maximize that time. And we've got a lot of busy moms and dads. We've got a lot of people that actually wake up very close to their departure time in the mornings. One of the consistent questions that came in during this challenge was, I don't have 90 minutes or 60 minutes. I've got 20 or 30 minutes total, which is why I tried to teach them to habit stack. Take the time you're toothbrushing or the time that you're just going to be hydrating and just super hydrate and actually super clean your oral cavity. So for people who don't have the time for a full workout, what's a quick, effective way to just add 20 minutes of movement in the morning?
I mean, you could just do in the morning when you wake up, I'm going to do 100 air squats, 50 push-ups, and 100 crunches, and just make a circuit out of that, or do a quick circuit of 40 seconds on, 20 seconds rest of push-ups, air squats, lunges, and leg raises. Do 3 rounds of that. That's 12 minutes. It's super easy. There was a time, probably like 2 years ago, when my mornings were absolutely insane. And the only thing I had time to work out later in the day, but for me, I feel so amazing when I can get exercise in the morning, just something. I was doing 60 seconds of push-ups first thing in the morning when I wake up. And yeah, it's not 10 minutes or 20 minutes, but I felt that instant energy. I felt amazing after I did it. I got that sense of accomplishment, because even just doing 60 seconds of push-ups and seeing how many you can do, you actually will improve over time. So then you're also getting that feeling of accomplishment. You know, when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you may feel like a foggy windshield, and exercise is like wiping that windshield off in the morning and having that clear mindset throughout the day.
Can you share your full morning routine for all of our ladies? So let's say that you do have the time, an hour to dedicate, or even 90 minutes to dedicate in the morning, not just for the ladies, but for the men. Can you share your full morning routine? And if you had to choose one over the other, would it be weight training or cardiovascular exercise?
I would choose weight training, just because there's so many more benefits to weight training than cardiovascular, especially when you're getting older. Weight training and maintaining lean muscle mass is going to help you metabolically way more than just doing cardiovascular training. But as far as my morning routine, I wake up, I drink water first thing. I like to move before I even have coffee, because if you're having coffee first, or caffeine, or pre-workout, which I hate pre-workout, but if you have any of those things first, you become dependent on having that caffeine in the morning. Where if you were to get movement first thing in the morning before you have any caffeine, you're going to get addicted to having that dopamine release. You're going to get addicted to having that endorphin release. And then movement becomes way more important than just having that cup of coffee. So I like to wake up in the morning, I drink water, get movement. If I have time, I'll sauna in the morning or do my red light, but I like to get my movement outside in morning sunlight. So then that would kind of replace my red light therapy. When it's dark outside in the winter, when I wake up in the morning and I brush my teeth, I'll turn my red light on, so I get that effect instead of like waiting throughout the day. So if you have an hour in the morning and you're trying to optimize your morning routine, I would say wake up, drink a cup of water. I love drinking my hydrogen water in the morning. I feel much more energized throughout the day when I drink it. Get movement. If you can do it outside, that's amazing. If you can't, it's still amazing. You're going to get those great benefits. Then have your coffee. And one thing that I always do as well that you can do while you're doing your movement is gratitude, or you can do it after. When I'm moving and if I set a timer and I'm like, I'm just going to be doing 40 seconds on, 20 seconds rest, I don't have to count reps. I'm thinking about all of the things I'm grateful for, what has gone my way that week, what do I want to work on that week, what are my goals for the week. And doing something like that, especially while you're moving, is going to make you feel so much better.
I love that. So lots of questions around what we should eat right after our morning exercise. Like some women are struggling with whether or not they should be intermittent fasting or not intermittent fasting. Not all women are suited for intermittent fasting. We know that.
Right.
But what's like a go-to meal for you after morning exercise? As soon as you're done eating, before you really get your day started.
Well, I say if you're going to be doing a more intense workout that's more than 30 minutes, you should have protein before, lean protein, at least 15 to 20 grams. If it's going to be a low intense workout under 30 minutes, you don't necessarily need to have protein before that. So I would say anything that's higher in protein. So eggs, scrambled eggs, eggs on toast, Greek yogurt, a protein shake, chicken sausage, something with protein. If you can consume protein in the morning before you consume any other type of food, like anything that's like high in carbs, high in sugar, you're going to have a sustained, you're going to sustain your appetite throughout the day. So you're not going to have these super crazy spikes in blood sugar where you're going to feel like you need a snack immediately.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Someone wanted to know what your take was on body vibration plates.
I think they're really great. I mean, there's a lot of different biohacking tools that I have and I use, and I think they're a great supplement. But if you don't have those things, I think there's a lot of like great ways that you can do them all naturally. Like just if you're bouncing up and down, like basically doing like calf raises while you're brushing your teeth, it kind of gives you that same effect as what a vibration plate would do.
Yeah. And I think it's important, guys, when you're talking about vibration plates, make sure that they only move in a vertical plane, that they're not rattling your body. It's actually a very bad idea. I went to a biohacking conference, a few years ago, and they had these oscillating plates, and they actually went around in a circle, and then they reversed the circle, and then they crossed it in different directions. Not only did I feel terrible, and I actually had pretty significant knee and ankle pain when I got off of that, but these are really just cheap plates that rattle the body. You want to move the body in a vertical plane. One of the cheaper things that you can do if you want to get these for lymphatic drainage and for this kind of benefit is those little small trampolines. They're probably the least expensive way to do it. There are very expensive ways, like a sonic plate, which is a 220-pound magnet that oscillates at 9 Gs of frequency. But just like she said, you don't need that. You can just get up on your calves and get, do it for free. I mean, I love these things that actually, and you get the bonus of really the muscle contraction, which is going to start to circulate your lymphatic flow. So is there any way to do steady state cardio and resistance training at the same time, like in the same routine, so that I get some benefit out of cardiovascular training, even though I'm doing resistance training?
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, it's all about kind of where you're getting your heart rate. So you can still do resistance training and maybe like speed up your reps a little bit. Or if you're doing like a circuit, like I said before, where it's 40 seconds on, 20 seconds rest, and you want to do something strength, one exercise could be push-ups or shoulder press. And then the next exercise could be like mountain climbers, where it's more a cardiovascular type of movement.
Yeah, I would say if you're not getting some form of cardio out of your weight training, you're just not doing your weight training properly.
For sure.
Anyone that says you can't get your heart rate up by weight training is not doing weight training properly. I mean, you can really, I think, get the bilateral both benefits from using weights.
Exactly. Yeah. With my online program, with my signature program, the one that I've had out forever, it's always been a program where you don't have to add any additional cardio. All of the cardio is worked into every single week that you're working out, because a lot of people don't have time to weight train and then go do cardio and then have a recovery session and all of those things. So everything is worked in and built into the workouts.
I love that. What tips do you have for women who are postmenopausal?
For postmenopausal, definitely strength training. I don't think that you should be really trying to do any kind of super intense cardio where you're really straining your body and putting it under a lot of stress. Staying in that kind of zone 2, zone 3 cardio with strength training is super important. As women get older, I mean, as any of us get older, we're losing muscle mass. And muscle mass is directly linked to longevity. So if you can make sure that you're sustaining your lean muscle mass by weight training, increasing your protein intake, a lot of people think you don't need to keep increasing your protein intake as you get older, but you do. As you get older, you need to start eating more and more protein. And as you get older, all you're thinking about is protein.
I love it.
That's it. It's all that consumes your mind. Does this have protein?
Yeah. How important does Alexia feel it is to change our workout wear to natural fibers? I've heard negatives about forever chemicals and synthetic workout clothing.
Yeah.
So do I believe this hype? Should I believe this hype?
I think so. I mean, it's really hard right now to find workout clothes that don't have synthetic materials in them. But when you really think about what we're putting on our skin, and we're sweating and we're intaking it all day long, like I think right now, like one of the most popular fashion statements is that athleisure look, where you're wearing leggings all day long, but you're working out and you're sweating, and that's all seeping into your pores. There was also a study that was done recently. I don't have the exact like link to it right now, but I could send it to you. Was women who were wearing underwear that had synthetic materials in it, and they were pregnant, had higher rates of miscarriages than women who wore just cotton underwear.
And I do the same thing. It's really hard to buy, get entirely organic. So I wear the organic underwear. I think it's Organic Basics, and another one called Nads for men. And I do wear those. I have those on right now. So those are against my reproductive organs, and then I have the other materials on the outside. So it's hard. I agree with her to go all non-synthetic, but what's closest to your body is what matters the most. Especially with some of those mucosal membranes, they're very absorptive. I mean, they're excellent ways to transport things through the skin into the bloodstream. So I think that's important. What's the one that you wear? Oh, it's Organic Basics. So my wife wears the Organic Basics too. I'm, for the record, no affiliation with them at all, other than I like the fact that they're all organic. So can you address women who have had a hysterectomy and might not have any hormones or natural production of hormones? Is exercise the same? And what kind of benefits can they get from exercise if they don't have the same hormonal cycle because of a hysterectomy?
Right. I think exercise is beneficial for anyone, no matter, what kind of issues you're having, or maybe what kind of surgeries that you've had, because like I said, weight training is going to maintain your muscle mass. And with having a hysterectomy, it kind of, I guess, depends on what your doctor is having you on, like if you're on hormone replacement therapy and different things like that. But if you are still, I believe exercise can help balance that out and help you feel really well and a lot better. Exercise in general is going to increase your energy levels. So if you're somebody that's feeling tired all the time, a lot of times we think, oh, I need to sleep, I need to take a nap, but you probably just need exercise, and in the morning is going to be the most beneficial time for you to do that.
So do you have, I love my VIP community. Look at them trying to sneak in here. Do you have any small workouts or movements you want to demo for the VIP community for some things that we could do throughout the day? I love these guys. They're like,
some exercises,
free workout. So any small workouts or small movements that you could demo for the VIP community that they could just use throughout the day, lunges, whatever they are.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just make a little, you want me to like literally demo it?
Yes, they want you to literally demo it. So they're like, we're going to get a free workout out of Alexia Clark. Whether
yeah, I can do that. So if we're going to do a 40-second on, 20-second rest circuit, this is going to be 12 minutes. It's going to be full body. So what you can do first is, for 40 seconds, you can do air squats, or you can do a pop squat if you want a little bit more of a cardio aspect in it. If you want a little bit more impact, an air squat's going to be perfect. The next exercise is going to be a push-up, and then you're going to do 3 mountain climbers. 3 push-up, 1, 2, 3 push-up, just like that. After that, you're going to do a reverse lunge with a little twist. This is going to be really great because it's going to help you with coordination, with balance, and you're also getting lower body work and core movement. And then the next thing you're going to do is get back down on the ground, plank punches on your forearms, keeping your core nice and tight. So you would do each of those exercises for 40 seconds, rest for 20 seconds for 3 rounds. That's 12 minutes.
Wow. 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off for 3 rounds.
Yep.
I love that. You could almost do that on an airplane. You might look a little weird, but there's when we go back and forth to Dubai, we love taking Emirates, because in the front section of Emirates they have in the back they have this lounge, but in the front they have a bathroom that's actually large enough to do that. And I know the passengers got to be wondering what's going on in there because I'm doing deep breathing too. So,
Yeah.
but it makes a huge difference in your travel just to take little breaks like that and and just get in some actual movement. I think, it's incredible when people actually start to have a slump at their desk. They want to go for coffee. I say just get up and go for even a 5 or 8 minute walk. And that will
Definitely.
spark your brain, improve your creativity. Any last minute tips before we wrap up? I know we only have a few minutes left. Where can my audience find you if they want to know more about Alexia Clark?
Yes, they can find me on Instagram at Alexia_Clark. My website is www.alexia-clark.com.
Amazing. Alexia, this was incredible. Every time we talk to you, we walk away with real actionable strategies. Please let my VIP community, well, they already know where to find you. If you're watching this and you haven't tried one of Alexia's workouts, trust me, it will change you in ways you didn't expect. It literally transforms Sage's body. All right, guys. Thank you, Alexia. We appreciate you so much. This is amazing. This is the day of the power women. We had Dr. Barbara Sturm and now Alexia Clark, who's phenomenal. I really mean this, guy. She completely changed Sage's, appearance. Sage was heavy into cardio. Alexia got her. Alexia and I both kind of got her into the weight training, and it's helped her back, her pain, everything else. Our next guest is not just a powerhouse in business and wellness. She's also one of my closest friends and someone I have a ton of respect for. She's now a New York Times bestselling author. She's an entrepreneur. She's a speaker. She's an author who's built a massive impact in the world of health, wealth, and personal development. She's one of the few true female billionaires in the world. She just released her new book, Scrambled or Sunny Side Up. It is a must read, guys. It's absolutely incredible. It's all about navigating life's challenges and making powerful choices and taking ownership of your future. If you missed my podcast with her, you got to check out the podcast that I did with Lauren Redinger. Lauren and I were just together last night in an event. And next week, we're both speaking at Market America, where she continues to inspire thousands and thousands of people. She's got a mindset that literally defies limitations. And today, she's going to share her wisdom on longevity, performance, and sustaining such a high level of success. So we are so lucky to bring on my best friend, Lauren Redinger.
I love you. Can you hear me okay? Yes.
I can hear you just fine. I get excited seeing you. You're so energetic.
Get excited seeing you. And I got 2 days in a row with you. So I'm fired up. And I'm more fired up that we have this VIP group here.
Yes. These are the people I'm pouring myself into, Lauren.
I'm pouring it with you. This is amazing. Yeah. What a community. Well, you know how I feel about you because you changed my life completely. And I lost 40 pounds with you. You got me healthy again. My cholesterol is like an 18-year-old. I'm definitely going to start working. I know it's crazy. And then I just saw that interview you just did. Is it Alexis that you just did?
Yeah, Alexia Clark.
It's wow. I mean, who doesn't want to borrow her body? But then of course, Sage has that same body. So I get it. It's like, I'm good. I get it. Sage is like, a whole new person. She's got abs harder than steel.
I know, dude. Every time Lauren sees Sage, she's like, how do I get that body?
I just want that body. I just want to borrow her body tomorrow night. I love it. There they are. And there they are. And I love her so much. And she's the best half behind Gary, but I love them both. It's rare that you meet a power couple. And, of course, JR and I had that our whole life, but you guys are just so much like us. And, just so much energy, so much knowledge, so much love for people, and really give yourself to others, which is unheard of. It's unheard of. So I'm just blown away.
So lots
of good mentors with you and JR.
Yeah, we did.
I love you guys.
Lots of questions. We love you too. Lots of questions about what your morning routine looks like. And, one of the things I'm trying to do is shape the day for these folks.
Well, it's funny because my morning routine starts before I go to bed. I make a list the night before of what I have to do the next day. And I do that for a reason, because, we have a tendency to panic when we wake up about, oh my God, this is what we got to do. And I found when I take the panic off of me, if I take the panic off of me at night and I say, okay, this is my program, let me prioritize. I always do the hardest things first. I do that because we put the hardest things first off. We always put the hard things off first. And I believe in success and I believe in committing to yourself and not breaking your commitments. So I do the hard things first and I structure my day in a format that I can't miss. And so if I want to stop working by 1, I set up my day that I've already done the hard things first. So I do that, then I get in the bed and I hit do not disturb on my phone. And when I do that, I have a handful of people, you included, in case I need to reach you. But if anybody needs to call me, I have a very short list of people who can interrupt that do not disturb. And I do that because when I do sleep, sleep is critical for me. And that is so hard for people to find because we have so many notifications in our life from our social media, everywhere that's just pouring in that it disrupts everything. You know, the next thing I do is when I wake up, I now already know what I have to do. So I don't have to panic. It's already set in stone and I can take some time for a moment and just, I really do say the 3 things that I'm most grateful for out loud. And I have to do that because since I lost my husband, as you know, 2 years ago, it's very easy in grief to wake up and feel depleted, sad, defeated before you begin your day because all of a sudden you feel like your best friend is no longer there. So I have to remind myself what I am grateful for. You know, my children, my life, the fact that my husband and I built a beautiful life together, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm grateful that I get to spend the next, 6, 8, 10 hours of my day doing the things that I love to do. And so I say that out loud because it sets me off the right way. And just over the last 2 years, as you know, I've incorporated stretching, which I never did before. So important for me. You know, before my husband passed away, I needed to lose weight. I wasn't stretching. I was just in that, work all the time, put it all in. There is no time for play, for feeling good. And, he would get on me about that, as you know. And so now I wake up and I stretch. It's the first thing I do. Sometimes I don't even get out of bed and I'll do stretches right in bed. Then I'll get up and I'll literally try. I am very strict on trying to get 6,000 steps in the morning. And, rather than pushing myself, because, going to the gym may not happen for a long period of time, but I at least get my steps in. I at least get my steps in. And I make sure I do that. When I come back, I take a very hot shower, followed by a very cold shower.
Yes. Who got you to do that?
and the reason I do that is because of this guy I love called Gary Brecka. And so I do that because I'm in an apartment, so I don't have my cold plunge, even though I should be able to have one. And Gary has ordered me one for my house, which is under construction. But I find that there's no excuse not to do it. So I take a hot shower first, and then I get freezing for a moment. And then I just get that cold plunge in the shower the best I can. I try to stay as long as I can. Some days it's 30 seconds. Some days I can stay almost 50 seconds. It depends on the day, but I push myself hard. I got to tell you, it is a game changer. It is a game changer. It really changes your life. And so I come out of the shower and I make sure I feel my best, meaning I get dressed. I put on makeup so I feel good. If that makes me feel good, whatever it is that makes you feel good. For me, because I've been through so much of losing my husband, it's really important for me to feel good. So I get dressed, I do what I need to do, and then I attempt to go tackle the world. And the good news is I do that by doing 2 things first. I do what's called the ultimate human protocol, which is it's true. And it's our daily essential vitamins, right? Which have everything you need, super antioxidants, all the vitamins you need every single day to get your day started. And sometimes I'll do it twice. And then I throw in one of my H2 tabs, as you know, into that.
Guys, this looks like I asked her to script this. I promise you I did not.
This is my day. And he knows
too good to be true.
I don't eat before 12. I don't eat before 12 because I've gotten really good about not because I'm doing it to fast or to lose weight. I'm doing it because it makes me feel better. I feel like I put my vitamins in my body first and I start my day off right. And then once it effervesces and dissolves, and you know what this does, it really reduces inflammation. It really gives me energy I need. It helps me with the digestive issues I've had. I've had digestive issues. These are Daily Essentials by Isotonics, by the way. You can find them on are both of our sites, right? Drink H2 tab, they're on there. as well as shop.com, which is my company. But I do it because it immediately makes me feel better. And I like it because I'm not great at taking the pills, but I am great at throwing in the H2 tab and drink my vitamins. And I like that. And I think what it does, it helps me with digestive, it helps me with energy, and it keeps me moving, and it helps me sleep at night. But the most important thing I do is I control my time. I eliminate people who are negative around me. I do not expose myself to anybody who can make me feel bad about myself, people who can make me feel bad about myself. I constantly remind myself that as hard as it has been for me over 2 years, I'm doing great. I'm feeling better than ever. I'm trying to make sure that I help other people along the way. And it's a journey. And I wrote a book, and I just became a best-selling author a couple of days ago. So I'm so excited.
Yes, you did.
I'm so excited. This has been a journey. I don't know how I fit this in, but I got to tell you, anybody who says that they can't fit the time in, I took a 10-hour class on AI. I wrote a book inside of a year. I got to tell you guys, you got to make time. You can be or do anything you want to do, but you got to make the time to do it. And so for me, I have one rule: no more excuses. Stop saying not now and just say right now, because everything else doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Lauren. So, for someone, discussions come up a lot, but for someone who has 10 minutes in the morning, super busy mom or dad, they see the level of success that you've had in your life. What's really interesting, I want to point out for the VIP community, is that I did not talk to any of these guests before they came on. I did not talk to Lauren and say this, highlight this, make sure you emphasize that. I did not even speak to Barbara Sturm. We just sent her a WhatsApp and asked her if she'd come on and share her morning routine. I did FaceTime with Wahlberg and asked him if he would just come on and share his morning routine, but I didn't tell them how to script it. What is astounding to me that you just said, that all three of you have said, and these are, I would consider, three of the most iconic, successful people in different areas. Lauren Rettinger, co-founded shop.com and Market America with her husband 30 years ago, and has built it into a multi-billion-dollar company. Dr. Barbara Sturm, has built this incredible cosmetic line that's global. Mark Wahlberg, arguably one of the best known actors of all time. The one thing that I noticed that is consistent is they all have a morning routine. It's non-negotiable. They all practice gratitude. When you said that, that's 3 out of 3 people that just said,
oh, wow, it's what works.
Alexia talked about it. Mark talked about it. Then you talked about it.
It's
just
so important.
Being thankful. And actually, Mark talked about dropping to his knees every morning, and just like the humility of
good place to start. It's a good place to start. I think what happens is we get so, especially for me in grief, was a big wake-up call for me. It was just a wake-up call of like the way for me to see myself through this, being married for 36 years. The only thing I could do was find things that I was grateful for. And that grief was a reflection of love. And so I just woke up and I said, you know what? I still have all these beautiful people in my company. I still have my family. I still have my children. I have air in my lungs. And I think we take that for granted. And I realized that the best way to push through, I also keep a journal now, which I never did before. Before I go to bed, I write a page of things that I'm really proud of myself. And I think that's important because we beat ourselves up too much. You know what I mean, Gary? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? We're kinder to other people than we are to ourselves.
It's crazy. We'll clap for everybody. We show up for everybody. But what about us? What about you? What about you showing up for you, doing for you, being for you? And it's honestly so important. It's like, that's why I always make sure that the people around me are going to cheer me on. You have to show up for you. You have to hold yourself hostage. You have to call 911 on yourself. You told me that yourself. You have to call 911 on yourself, Lauren, during my grief. You were like, we got to fix this. And I did. And I got right in and I started to pay attention and listen, because I realized that health is all we have. You can't take all these things with you. All of the success that my husband and I have had, you don't get to take a U-Haul with you on the way out. You know, you have love and your health and your children and your family. And that's what's the most important thing, and how many people you can help. And truth of the matter is, I've never met anybody besides you and my husband who spend their life dedicated to helping people. You are remarkable.
Thank you. Thank you. So lots of questions about what time you wake up, what time you go to sleep.
I'm the worst, as you know. I go to bed very late. I go to bed. I'm going to tell you what I do, though. That's the one thing I'm not very good at. I go to bed at 3 or 4 in the morning. Why? I struggle. The other thing I learned about my marriage and how beautiful it was is I've learned that the bedtime, nighttime ritual is the hardest for me, because as you and Sage probably know, pillow talk was everything for JR and I. So we spent our life on that pillow talking at night about all the things that we were so busy that we couldn't finish in the day having a conversation about. So that's when I talk to him. That's when I talk to him about my day. That's when I talk about the things that, there's a lot in here now, because there's one girl, and I have my family, thank God, helping me run this company, but there's a lot of pressure on me. So I have those conversations to myself. And when I do fall asleep, that is why I put the phone on Do Not Disturb. I wake up at 9 o'clock every day, sometimes earlier, depends, but never past 9. And I will tell you what I do. When I am overloaded and tired, I stop and I take a nap. So I don't care if it's your lunch break. And you used to tell me this too. Find it in your lunch break, Lauren. Do it at the time you get a break. Shut your brain off for 15 minutes and reset. And I think, you've taught me so much about health and resetting and taking care of our bodies and the things that we need to do, that I will never go backwards.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that so much. There's a question that came in that said, you travel so much and seem to always be in different time zones. What tips do you have for people who spend a lot of time on planes or traveling?
I wear compression socks all the time, number one, and I get up all the time. I get up, I wear compression socks. You got to take your hydrogen tablet. You've got to do that. You've got to get up and walk. You've got to walk around. You've got to set a goal. In my phone, I have the Steps app. I downloaded the app. I make sure I get up and walk wherever I am, even if it's on an airplane. Wherever I'm at, I always ask them, where's the safest place to go for a walk? Even if you have to walk in circles, walk. As far as time zone goes, I don't force it. I try to arrive the day before so I can rest, but I will stop and I literally will schedule things around what I have to do on that day and find time to take a rest in between. Don't try to worry about getting on people's time zones. As you know, Gary, sometimes you can't.
Yes. No, that's
you have
so
to
true.
do what
Especially
you can
if you're
do.
not there a long period of time.
Exactly. If you're there for 3 or 4 days, you're just gonna, just stay on your time zone, do what you got to do, and take a nap in between.
Yeah. How do you deal with your cycle and keeping your energy up and high energy as an entrepreneur? So as a female, you don't get to decide when these events are, and you don't get to decide your cycle. So how do you deal with your cycle and keeping your energy up and high energy?
I take a lot of vitamins. I do. Yeah. I take a lot of vitamins. I attribute it to why I don't look my age. I feel really good about that. I hate to say it, I think I'm 55 or 56, but I try not to talk about it very much because I think age is just a number. But my point is this, that you can look your best and feel your best regardless of what's going on with your cycle, regardless if you're premenopausal, regardless of what's going on in your life. You have to get up and do something. You have to be active. You have to move your body. I didn't understand that for years. I didn't understand how important it was. It's like if you're waking up and you're getting creaks in your hips and you feel like you need the oil can, you got to move. And I think that's so important to do. And I think my energy level comes from, I take vitamins, as you know, 3-4 times a day. I don't go to bed without taking another, a super antioxidant of isotonics, and I take more hydrogen tablets. And I have them everywhere. And I take up to 5 a day. I'm probably take more than most people. But I think it's really helped me with my energy. And this everybody's asking me what's in my drink. It's almost gone, but it's delicious, as you know. And it's a super antioxidant with OPC3, oligoproanthocyanidins. Our vitamins, all the vitamins that you need, B, everything.
I'll link those, by the way, in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll link them. But I think your energy really depends also on your mind. I do not clutter my mind with things. I do not clutter my mind with people. I don't want to rob my time. I don't let people, I got to tell you what I do make sure of. In the morning, I make sure my space is clear. I don't have a bunch of people around me because you know what happens when you do, people will go at you. It's very important that you control your morning yourself. If you got to go to work, do what you got to do, but know what you're going to do the day before so you can control it. Control your after work time. I always tell people, control the people you surround yourself with. If I didn't do that, you know, Gary, I would be a disaster. I do. Yeah. It's almost like to come to my house, you need to give me a resume so I can make sure that you're a positive person, you know, because I just don't want anybody to come around me unless that they're going to be a cheerleader for me, because I want to be a cheerleader for them. I think we don't do that enough. And I think that we disregard our mind. I protect this at all costs. People ask me all the time what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of losing this. I'm afraid of that. So what do? I stay focused on this all the time. I talk about memory. I do little tricks on myself. I'm the cheerleader for myself. I stand up for myself. I believe in myself. I give myself a pep talk every morning, as you know. You can do this one. You're great at it. Go for it. And I think as a woman, we have to work harder sometimes, and that's unfair. So I remind myself that I don't need anyone to tell me how great I can be, that I can do it by myself. And by the way, if somebody asks me what my memory tricks are, I have a whole file in my computer that tells me who I am, what I am, because I am afraid of Alzheimer's down the road or getting dementia. And I want to prevent that at all costs. So I make sure exactly I know who I am. I study it. I write it down. I have drawings. I talk about it. You know, when you have insurance tests, they make you do a lot of that stuff. And I've learned what those tests are, and I study all the time. And I just make sure and by the way, the AI classes are asking me, several people. Horsia.
What AI class?
Horsia. I do that all the time. I take AI classes. Why? Because the future's upon us. It's here now. We used to have 10, 15 years to adapt to what the future holds. And we can't do that anymore. So now me, Mark Ashley, who's the president of my company, my brother, we're always on top of things. So if you don't know what to do, I want to know. I want to know what to do. I don't have an extra 8 or 10 hours, but you know what I do? I make the time. I find the time to do the things that are important. And being healthy is one of them. Having a absolute strict ritual. I do not negotiate with myself. You cannot negotiate with yourself. You must hold yourself hostage. You are the one. You're the only one. Nobody's coming for your rescue. You can do it.
That is so awesome. Can you tell my audience more about this morning pep talk you give yourself? Like, what affirmations do you say?
Well, I get up every morning and I go in the mirror and I say, you know what, Lauren, you're great. And there's nothing you can't do. And I know you're struggling sometimes. And I know that it's hard on you sometimes because JR is not here to tell you how great you are, but you know that he said how great you were. So you're great. And there's anything you can do, anything that anyone else can do, you can do better. And I remind myself, if I don't know what to do, you don't have to decide today. When I don't know what to do, guess what I do? Nothing. Because I'm not going to be put under pressure to make a decision that I'm not ready to make. And some people are taken back by that. They're like, well, we really want to know what to do. I was like, can't have that answer. Sorry, I'm not ready for that. I don't have the answer for you, and I'm not working on your time zone. And so I'm sometimes not on people's time zone, and that's okay, because I've got to be here for me. The only person who's going to show up for me every day is me. Even your kids, and I love my daughter. I have 3 grandkids. They're my life. But as you know, even our own children have their own life, right? So I've had to figure out what life looks like living alone for the first time in my life in all these years. And so I'm figuring it out. I'm showing up for me.
You know, Market America is coming up and you're going to be speaking to thousands of people.
So are you.
And so am I. I love speaking at your events. You know, what's one key message you want them to walk away with when it comes to taking ownership of their health and their success?
Listen to me. One, for your health, it's the only thing that matters. At the end of the day, after losing the love of my life, the person I love the most, more than I loved him and my kids equally. The thing I love the most, health is number 1 for me now, because I know all of this stuff doesn't matter once I'm gone. And number 2 is being in control of my life now, my destiny, my legacy. I want to control my time. I want to control what it looks like for me. I want to control the people I'm around. I want them to cheer for me. I want to cheer for them. Life's short, folks. Life is so short that all we have is the here and now. Stop putting off tomorrow what you can do today. Gary and I joke about this all the time. You say, oh my God, I'm going to start my diet on Monday. And he said to me one time years ago, what's wrong with today, Lauren?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. What's wrong with today?
And it's true. And so you know what, when you think about that and you live your life flipping the switch, one of the things you and I are doing this coming up week is teaching people how to kind of flip the switch, change their thought pattern. Everything's about the mindset, right? I've studied the mind for years. It's what I care about the most. It's what I want to protect the most. So I want to help people do that. And I know the only way to do that is to take care of you first, to show up for you first, to know that anything is within your reach, but you have to decide to go for it. And you cannot use words not like, not now, not yet. That's being hedged. 1 foot in and 1 foot out never happens. You got to go all in. Whatever it is you want to do with your health, you got to go all in. Take small steps and pat yourself on the back when you hit a home run. Go for it. Give yourself love. Go for it. It's a beautiful thing. And you've been such an inspiration for me and such a mentor to me in so many ways.
Thank you so much. I know we're coming down to the close of our time here. So what's one piece of advice that you think completely changed your life and you think everyone watching this needs to hear, especially given the tragedy that you've gone through? I think a lot of people on this VIP Zoom have struggled with grief, and you faced it head on. And I know that you talk about this journey in your book, but what's a piece of advice that during that process you learned that completely changed your life?
Life is short. And, you know, the book is called Scrambled or Sunny Side Up because every day my husband used to say, baby, how should I have my eggs, scrambled or sunny side up? And, you know, for 10 years, I thought, okay, that's sweet. He likes my opinion. One day I'd say scramble, one day I say sunny side up. But after 10 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage, you're like, honey, it's your stomach. What do you want? And I think about it now. Today I would say I would do anything for JR to ask me, scrambled or sunny side up, anything for him to ask me that. So don't disregard the small things in life. They're really the big things. I didn't see that was his love language. I didn't see that him getting my input on the eggs, what color shirt, what shoes he should wear. Instead of seeing it as being a pain in my ass, I saw it as, that's how I saw it, instead of me seeing it as his love language. And we have to remember that our love languages are never the same. And even though we had a beautiful marriage, you don't have to lose someone to recognize them today if they're still living. And so for me, it's always about reaching out to the people that you love around you now, reminding them of their presence and how important it is, reminding them how important they are to you, what they mean to you. So, you know, my daughter and I now, we send each other voice notes, we send each other video messages before bed and when we wake up. Why? Because I'll always have that. It takes an extra moment for me to see her beautiful face in the morning and say, good morning, mama. You know, and I'm so grateful for moments that I took advantage of before. I will never do that again. And I think you have to have a hard loss to learn that. But maybe you can see it now. And I think if you also wake up and do the hardest things first every day, don't put them off. Don't put them off. And the hardest things first for you and your dream. So if you go to work, those hardest things will happen the moment you come home or wake up earlier. Do whatever it takes, but don't put yourself last. Because life is short, and the only place I know where the most talented people in the world are in a graveyard. Most of them, we've never heard their name. They're singers that never sung, writers who never wrote, you know, speakers who never spoke. And this is your time while you're alive, so go do something with it.
Yes, so awesome. Closing things out, you know, can you tell my VIP community a little bit more about Market America and shop.com, since you and I are going to both be taking the stage there next week?
And we're in Miami. Come as our guest, even. Anybody on the VIP can come as our guest. Don't even just, awesome. You can tell everybody that. There you go. Anybody in the VIP can come as a guest and don't need to buy the ticket. But here's the thing. It's a business that my husband and I started 33 years ago. So it's a business where somebody can have their own e-commerce site, have access to thousands of products, don't have to inventory thing. We do all the shipping for you. And you get to, you know, have a business where you can make part-time income or full-time income. It's up to you. And it's been very successful. And I'm really grateful for it. And it's in Miami. next week on the 27th through the March 1st. And if you get in touch with anybody on the VIP team, they'll make sure you get a ticket.
That's amazing. Lauren, I could talk to you for hours. Your energy, your perspective, the way you approach life, it's so next level. I've been on this journey for you. You know, I was very close to your husband, as you know. And
he loved you. He loved you so much.
Yeah, it was a big loss for me too. I'm actually getting choked up talking about it now. But everyone watching, if you haven't already, you know, go get Lauren's book, Scrambled or Sunny Side Up. It's one of those books that will completely shift the way you think. As Sage was reading it, she used to call me and text me about every little chapter, and just tell me about the progress she was making.
And it makes you want to be a better person. It really does.
Yeah, it makes you want to be a better person. All right, VIPs. Thank you, Lauren.
I love you guys. Follow me on Lauren Reitinger on Instagram. I love you guys. I'm here for you. Any questions, I'll always answer your DM, whatever, at Lauren Reitinger. Thank you guys so much. I love you, Gary. You are the greatest. You have the heart of gold, and I have learned so much from you. I'm grateful for this moment with you always.
Thank you, Lauren. You're the best. Wow, amazing, guys. If you don't know Lauren's story, I mean, she's an absolute icon. She started a business in her garage with her husband a little over 30 years ago and built it into a $13 billion company. And she's just a sweetheart of a human being. She's been a very close friend of mine. Her husband was a close friend of mine. And I knew him before he suddenly passed. And she's just the warrior that she's become since she lost her husband and turned that grief into like furthering her passion to build her business is really inspiring. So if any of you guys have struggled with something, God forbid, like that, it's an excellent book for you to get. All right, so our favorite time. Let's get to some of the hands that are raised. I'm going to extend the time today, guys. I'm going to add another 30 minutes on the end of the VIP. Like I said, I want to pour myself into this community. I know we had a lot of guests on today, and normally I actually take the reins the whole time, but I just thought it was really important to give some of these iconic figures, you know, the stage to talk about their morning routine. Because the theme that I wanted to run through this, you know, these different interviews was, here's some of the most successful people in the world in different areas, you know, acting, business, you know, skincare, and there's commonalities between them all. One is they all practice gratitude in the morning, a simple practice that you can do for absolutely nothing. Every single one of them empowers themselves through movement and exercise. They're all exposing their bodies to cold water. Lauren takes a shower. Mark gets in a cold plunge. I mean, so there are these little things that you can do, hydrate and mineralize the body, with the self-care routines that actually propel their career. And I think if you listen between the lines, you heard all three of them say that their morning routine is what empowered the success of their career. So maybe it will shift the mentality or the mindset of a lot of you, and you'll start engaging in self-care in the morning. And maybe this free challenge, this VIP group, was what made you make that shift. So the education inspired you to make a change. And that's I believe, God's calling for me. So let's get to some live questions, guys, and fire it up. Hi there, Angela. How are you? You're muted.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Yep. All right.
Okay. So really quick, I used to weigh over 700 pounds.
700?
Yes, sir. Oh, and I became I was on the Dr. Phil show for 2.5 years as one of the ultimate weight loss challengers. And after 2 years of doing that, and all the cameras were off and the trainers left and everything, I was really struggling to try to finish my weight loss on my own. And I was going to doctors. Someone put me on the China study, took me off sugar, salt, oil, fat, you know, just eating a lot of beans and rice and veg. Ended up making me a diabetic. I started gaining weight back. And then I had PCOS and lupus. And so then a couple of years ago, out of desperation, I found carnivore and started applying that. So I had gone up to back up to 550 pounds. I got back down to 450, and I'm stuck. I've plateaued between 420 and 480. I stay in that range. I'm doing the Stilo. I'm doing the Keto Mojo. You know, tried that beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, which is not 100% sustainable. And it seems like that I have so much, being a child of abuse and a ritualistic abuse and sex traumas, basically the therapists are saying, oh, well, that's in your cells since birth and you're kind of stuck, and be happy that you've at least gotten down to this weight. But I'm 56 years old. I'm a corporate executive. I haven't even left my house since October. And I'm sitting here, I mean, just to move from my office to my living room, my kitchen is very hard for me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm 56 years old. I'm not going to live to see retirement, because if I don't do something. In carnivore, I'm like stuck. I plateaued. And I went on your body health and I was looking at your calculating your food, proteins, and carbohydrates. I'm trying to figure out what is a normal way I can eat that is sustainable. And I need to get unstuck, because even when I follow, I can't get even in ketosis, because metabolically I'm shot. So what do I do? Where do I go?
Okay.
I mean, whatever. I'll give blood, I'll scrub toilets, whatever I got to do to figure out what I got to do to heal myself.
Yeah, so let's talk about the fourth most important things first of all, and the first is mindset. You know, there's a book called The Seat of the Soul, written by a philosopher named Gary Zukav. He also wrote Soul Stories. I'm not recommending those books yet, but Oprah Winfrey actually credited a philosopher with being the first person that was able to cause her to lose weight. And when he magically transformed Oprah Winfrey, because she was notoriously heavy on set and she lost all this weight. She had been on very much the same journey that you had been on. She tried all these diets. Obviously, she had, you know, money was no issue. She didn't have a lack of physicians willing to help her, and dietitians and nutritional experts and everything else. And I remember when Gary Zukav was being interviewed, they said, how did you make this major transformation in Oprah Winfrey? Why is it that you're the only one that got her to lose weight? And he said, it was easy. I had her stop seeing herself as a fat person. And I've already heard you say a number of things that that tell me that you have already accepted your destiny. It's what the healthcare professionals have told you. It's what you've accepted about yourself. It's the way you actually refer to yourself. You refer to yourself as a heavy person. You refer to yourself as a fat person. Your memories of yourself are either being heavier or, you know, extremely heavy or heavy. So all of the self-imaging and all of the self-doubt that you have is reinforced by how we see ourselves. I think it's really important that every morning that you wake up in the morning, you envision the person that you want to be. You actually crystallize this in your mind. There's three things that you can do, three exercises that you can do. I call it breath work, intention setting, and visualization. I actually use these very often when, like right before I come on these Zooms. And all you do is you just sit calmly, and you're going to break the cycle of your morning. You can do this first thing in the morning. You're going to take 5 obnoxiously deep breaths. You're going to do that 5 times. And then you're going to set your intention. What is my intention for today? Like before I got on here, I asked myself quietly in the other room, I said, what's my intention for getting on this Zoom call? My intention was to add value to this crowd. And that was my only intention for being here. I just want to be present, and I want to add value to this group. Even the free group, the VIP group, I want to add value. And then the second thing that I did was I actually visualized the outcome of today's talk. I visualized people receiving the information, taking action, being happy, putting positive comments into the chat room, actually writing things down. I actually envisioned thousands and thousands of people, and we had 10,000 or so people between YouTube and all of these other locations. I envisioned thousands of people taking this information and putting it into practice in their life. And then as I got on here, I was fearless, and I'm very present, and I already see the comments coming in the chat. You need to do the same thing to design the future of your life. The first thing that needs to happen before anything else happens is your mind needs to tell your body that you are not a fat person, that you are just temporarily in this position, right? We do the same thing with athletes when they get injured, so they don't begin to see themselves as an injured person. We have to get them to see themselves as an athlete so they stop hesitating. I'm the health services director for the NFL Alumni Association. I have a lot of experience in this. So the first thing I would learn to do is short visualization. Do it in the morning by doing 3 rounds of 5 breaths, asking yourself, what is my intention today? And if your intention is to be healthier, then you will start developing the habits that make you a healthy person. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to envision that frame that you stood in a few years ago when you actually were down 400 pounds. That's the person that you want to see, not the person that's staring you back in the mirror. It's the person that you envision yourself to be. When I work with fighters, I tell them to visualize the outcome of the fight. Never visualize the journey, because in the middle of a fight, if it doesn't go your way, that visualization will work against you. So always visualize the end destination. Who do I want to be? And what is my intention today? My intention is to take one step closer to being that person. The other thing that I would do is I would really consider doing a medically supervised water fast, because you have enough stored energy in your body, believe it or not, that you can actually fix your metabolism by not eating, by staying hydrated and mineralized. These different dogmatic diets are to work with people that actually have healthy metabolisms. The reason why you can't get into ketosis is because your metabolism is clinically disrupted. I would really, and I can help you with this. You put a question into the chat or send something to info@theultimatehuman.com, is to enter a medically supervised fasting program. You would be shocked how easy this is once you're 3 or 4 days in, but you have years worth of stored energy in your body and you can safely access it and restore your metabolism. So that would be my suggestion.
I appreciate that. I did. I'm in northern Louisiana right now, and I did go to several doctors. And every time I go in and talk to someone, they want to write me a prescription for Mounjaro or Ozempic and send me on my way. And I'm like, next, leave. Pay my copay and leave.
That's not it. We're going to tap into the beauty of the human body and the power of tapping your metabolism. I've got to get to another question, but if you could, please send that, info@theultimatehuman.com, and I'll see if in your area, if I can find a referral for a medically supervised fasting protocol.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to try to get as many people as possible. So we'll try to keep the questions short and ask one question so I can keep rolling through these. Hey, Al.
Hey, Gary, this is Ali from Dallas.
Ali, how are you?
So I've been following you. I'm doing good. I've been following you for about 2 years and implemented a lot of stuff that you're talking about, and I've seen really good results. And one of the things I love about you is that you share your knowledge generously, and you're not afraid to kind of put it all out there. You don't hold anything back, so that's awesome. I recently joined the VIP group and looking forward to a lot of good things. So my question is, I'm asking for a friend, and you'll understand why in a second.
Yeah.
It's about it's called Bartholin cysts. It's an autoimmune disease. What basically vitamins are deficient, and any recommendations on how to kind of address that?
So I'm not familiar with that particular autoimmune disease, but in autoimmune conditions in general, right? I mean, there's two schools of thought for autoimmune conditions. One, you woke up one day and your immune system decided to attack healthy tissue, right? It's attacking your thyroid, so now you have Hashimoto's. It's attacking your colon, so now you have Crohn's disease. It's attacking the blood, you have lupus, and on and on and on. The list of diagnostic diseases and pathologies is 36,000 units long. Or you could take a step back and say, what if I took the approach that the immune system is actually acting properly? I need to figure out why it's conducting itself this way. Why is it creating cysts? Why is it attacking my bone? Why is it attacking my colon or the lacrimal glands in my eyes? And in many cases, not all cases, and you're going to hear this become a recurrent theme because I want to drive this home, especially for my VIP group, is that there is some kind of foreign invader in the body that the immune system has recognized and is actually attempting to get out. And those are the big four: mold, mycotoxin, metals, viruses, and parasites. You would not believe the amount of heavy metal toxicity. I had this recently, and I'm going to walk through what I'm doing to get metals out of my body. With the VIP group, I was accidentally toxically metal poisoned by a water system. So I actually got high levels of lead in my body, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to get it out. But it is metals, mold, mycotoxins, and viruses. Unless you have thoroughly investigated those four categories, I wouldn't yet accept that you or your person you're asking for is stuck or trapped in a life-threatening or autoimmune condition that they're going to have for the balance of their lifetime. I would start helping my body find out what triggered this condition to exist. Very rarely do these things happen to us. In almost every case, they happen within us. And it's important to find out what within us went wrong to force this to happen. So I would be conducting a test like that. Vibrant Wellness is a good one. I'm actually going to have my team and my daughter start looking for some of the best in-home tests that are less expensive. For the record, I have no affiliation with any of these testing companies. I just deeply believe, because on my journey over the last 10 years, I knew that nutrient deficiencies and lifestyle choices were the leading cause of mortality. And I wanted to change the world by getting that information out there. As I actually opened a clinic and saw hundreds of thousands of people come through our clinic system, what I realized was, my goodness, people are so much sicker than they think they are. I mean, they think they're more sick than they really are, and very often have one of these 4 categories. If I was to take those 4 categories and run it through the majority of ailments that people are facing that they've already sought medical help for and couldn't find an answer to, I would say off the top of my head, and I'm not a physician, I would say off the top of my head, 80 to 85% of the cases that were unsolvable were solved by something in those 4 categories.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. We have.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Woo! I love this. This is where the rubber meets the road. Hi there. Is it Karen? Hi, Karen.
Yeah. Hi. I'm over in Abu Dhabi. So.
Oh, you're in Abu Dhabi. I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Yes. I saw you for the first time then. So thank you for your integrity and the offerings that you have to give for us.
That's kind of you. Did you see my talk at the Cayenne Wellness Festival?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Great. Amazing.
So for me today, I was basically lying down for most of the day because of coughing and difficult breathing, very heady. And I just wondered what things I can do to support me. I thought it was interesting too with regards to mold. I was scrubbing in the shower black mold. Yes, yesterday. So, maybe that hasn't bearing.
Are you getting recurrent sore throats?
No.
Okay, good. So most of it's chest and respiratory? Yeah.
Yes.
Have you had an exam of any kind? Has a doctor looked at you? No. Okay. So, I mean, that would certainly be where I start. What's interesting in Abu Dhabi, there's something available called a Pronovo scan. It doesn't have the radiation that an MRI has, and it's a full body scan, and it shows you areas where fluid can be pulled. It shows you areas where you have something called diffuse vasculitis, or vascular swelling, which can cause what you're talking about. I'm not saying that that's what's causing it, but these full body AI interpreted scans are cost-wise coming down further and further and further. They're becoming more and more widely available. And their diagnostic capacity to catch cancers at what we're calling stage 0, and to catch other ailments that might be overlooked because they don't show up on labs is pretty phenomenal. I think that these scans are going to become as common as a multivitamin in a few years. But right now, yeah, just because I happen to be speaking there in Abu Dhabi, there's an organization called Pure Health, Pure Health, Pure Health. I met with their CEO while I was there. And I would really, are you a part of the healthcare system there? Do you have coverage through the government, or are you independent?
No, I've moved over from Australia only a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I can probably tell that you moved from Australia, by the way. Nice Australian accent. But so I would think about contacting Pure Health and getting in for one of their full body scans. I bet you would find the root cause of this. The other thing that I would do is I would order an air filtration system, because Abu Dhabi and LA right now have some of the lowest air quality. Keep your indoor air clean. There you go.
Anything else I can do to support me while I'm healing?
Hydrate, mineralize, use hydrogen in your water, and get something called a surgically clean air filter. This is an air filter that will go down to between 0.1 and 0.3 microns, and it will keep your air really clean. It also has an ozone setting, so you can actually ozonate the air when you leave. The one rule of thumb when you have respiratory or other kinds of clinical issues, contact dermatitis and other things, is that you have to remove yourself from the environment that's causing it, or clean up the environment that's causing it. You know, when we have a fish tank full of fish and the fish gets sick, we actually don't treat the fish, we treat the water. But when humans are sick, we actually don't treat the environment the human's in, we try to treat the human. And if you leave that fish in that tainted environment and keep treating the fish, you're going to be treating the fish chronically. It almost makes you feel like the whole design happened on purpose, because we have to look at what environmental factors, what are you swimming around in? And that includes, what are you eating? What are you drinking? You know, what's your environment like? And clean the environment up first. And very often, at least in fish medicine, it works, right? We clean the tank, the fish get healthy. We don't take them out, try to fix the fish and put them back in a dirty tank, but that's what we do to human beings. We don't address the environment that they're in. We actually just try to treat the human. And this, for me, is where I think modern medicine has gone wrong, because, you know, this is why we have a multi-trillion-dollar industry that's built on chronic disease, because we're not practicing lifestyle medicine. We're practicing individualized maintenance, symptom maintenance, and symptom management.
A good filter.
Yes, surgically clean air. That's the one. That's exactly
great. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, can I get to one more question? Okay. They said wrap it up. I don't want to wrap it up, guys. I want to get to one more question. Oh, happy dad hat. Awesome. I love the note voice. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
So I've just been kind of going down the rabbit hole of vitamins to optimize my health, on top of the vitamin D, K2, and the methylated multivitamin that I take every day. Yep. And I was watching a podcast with Dave Gordon on with Joe Rogan, and he was talking about quercetin, bromelain, and selenium, all things that I've heard you speak about before. But I was just wondering if it would be beneficial to take a complex of those. I know you really preach on not supplementing for the sake of supplementing, but for deficiency. So, I mean, is that something that, you know, an average person can take, like vitamin D, which is going to boost your immune response regardless of if you're deficient or not? Are those beneficial to add to my diet of vitamins?
Yeah. So the one that I would be cautious about is quercetin, and the reason for that is there's a genetic mutation called COMT, COMT. It stands for catechol O-methyltransferase. And what this gene does is it codes for an enzyme that breaks down a category of neurotransmitters called catecholamines. Catecholamines are your fight or flight neurotransmitters. And why is that important? Because if you have anything along the lines of attention deficit disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and I don't mean to the point where you've been diagnosed with those, I'm just giving you these as categories. If you're obsessively compulsive, if you're OCD, if you have ADD or ADHD, especially if you suffer from mild to severe anxiety or mild to severe anxiousness, quercetin can be a nightmare for you, because quercetin is a COMT inhibitor. So if you don't know whether or not you have this gene mutation, it's best to just avoid quercetin. Quercetin has a lot of benefits, so does elderberry, but there are a lot of other ways that you can get the antioxidant effect. My favorite one, I hate to keep coming back to it, is hydrogen, because it's the lightest element in the universe. It's the most prevalent element in the universe, and it goes everywhere in the body, and you cannot have a reaction to hydrogen gas, or else none of us would be having this conversation right now. You can actually go into a tailspin from quercetin. If you have a COMT, if you're actually what we call MET or variant, if you have these mutations that don't allow the enzyme to break this down, it actually hyperexcites the mind, interrupts your sleep, increases the frequency of panic attacks, and increases the frequency of feeling anxious and overwhelmed. It will make your OCD go from like a 4 to a 7. And if you have attention deficit disorder, it'll make your mind ricochet, right? It will actually open more windows at a faster rate than you're closing them. So that's the one I tell people to be cautious of, unless they've actually done a gene test and they know what their genetic predisposition is. Remember, our genes actually don't determine our destiny, but they do determine what compounds we can convert and what we can't convert. one of the best things to do is just give your body the already converted form of these. So other than quercetin, I would say the others are fine if you want to take those, as long as you've taken care of the basics, the B complex, the methylfolate, the trimethylglycine, an omega-3 or fatty acid. So that can be either from like a black seed oil or from fish. You can actually freeze the fish capsules. If you don't like the fish burps, you can put them in the freezer and you can swallow them frozen. That's one of my favorite ways to get people to take fish capsules that don't like taking them because they get the fish burps. So I would make sure that those basics are all covered, and then certainly you can add the other two.
Okay, awesome. I'm so happy I asked that, Gary, because I have the COMT gene and I have severe anxiety. So you just saved me from a nightmare.
Dude. I just saved you a week of horror, brother.
Oh man, I'm so happy I asked. Thank you, Gary.
Week of horror. Yeah, you're welcome.
Take care.
All right, I'm going to take one more question. Oh, hi, Vicky.
Oh, thank goodness. That last call, I don't know if I have the COMT, but this was my question. And my anxiety is through the roof. For 3 years, I've been eating whole foods. I recently switched to all organic pasture-raised meats, trying to lower this anxiety. I did have mold. I went through a parasite, heavy metals detox for the last year. I did have mold toxicity, went through that detox, and I'm still working through that. Removed fillings, removed a root canal. I've gone through the whole process, but I can't get rid of this morning anxiety that raises my blood pressure. What can I do?
Okay. So if you have the COMT variant, catechol-O-methyltransferase, right? This is the gene mutation that doesn't allow you to break down these fight or flight neurotransmitters, right? They have a tendency to rise in the morning. The one thing that will characterize your anxiety will have the following 3 characteristics. One, you will have had it on and off in some form throughout your entire lifetime, right? Didn't just start one day. You've had it sort of on and off throughout your life. It may be more severe now than it was, but I'd be surprised if you haven't had some anxiousness or anxiety throughout your adult lifetime. The second thing is that it can very, very often be difficult, if not impossible, to point to the specific trigger that causes it. Like morning is not a trigger, right? I'm just saying you don't need to be claustrophobic and stepping on a crowded elevator. You don't need to be afraid of heights and walking to the edge of a 30th floor balcony. And then the final one is if you've tried anti-anxiety medications, they really won't work. They'll just kind of make you feel like a zombie. They'll just sort of flatten your mood. Those are classic signs of anxiety from elevated catecholamines. So here are the 4 things that I would try. I would make sure that you're taking 800 to 1,000 micrograms of methylfolate every day, and I would take one of the 1,000 milligram methylfolates before bed. I would make sure that you're taking a good methylated B complex, so the complex of B vitamins with something called methylcobalamin, the methyl form of B12. And then I would be taking 500 milligrams of trimethylglycine, TMG. And in the morning, if that doesn't work in the first week, I would add to the morning something called SAMe, S-adenosyl methionine, capital S-A-M, lowercase e, SAMe, S-adenosyl methionine. These are things that can actually help your body break down catecholamines, the fight or flight neurotransmitters that create a wakened state. They create a sense of fear, dilate your pupils, and can actually increase your heart rate, especially in the morning. I always have to say you should run all of this by your doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm not licensed to practice medicine, but in the hundreds of thousands of clients that have come through our clinics, that is the majority of the way that our clinical team has been able to put those in people's rearview mirrors.
That is awesome. One quick question. TMG, last time I looked into it, when you mentioned it in one of your podcasts, I looked into it. Can you take it long-term or is it a short-term thing?
Yes. Trimethylglycine is an amino acid. You can take it long-term. I haven't seen any data that it's harmful, but these are metabolites, right? I mean, let me just explain this before we end this call today. It's important. So metabolites are things that the body recognizes. When the body recognizes them, it can break them down and get rid of the waste. When I say waste, again, I'm not talking about stool or urine. I'm talking about cellular waste, right? So like take a piece of chicken. You eat a piece of chicken, the body takes that protein, breaks it down into amino acids. Those amino acids go in and build other proteins or go into the body and become natural killer cells or collagen or elastin or fibrin. And then they're literally gone. They either become a part of you, they're used as energy, and whatever's left over is eliminated as waste. This is why you don't build a tolerance or a sensitivity to food, what we call tachyphylaxis, or else you'd be eating 1,500 calories today, and 10 years from now, you'd be eating 10,000 calories, and 20 years from now, you'd be eating 30,000 calories. You don't build a sensitivity or tolerance to metabolites. So most of what I tell people that they should use are things that are metabolites. And the reason why is because our body can recognize them, it can break them down, it can get rid of the waste. So if you start on a TMG doses today, which will be 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day, you won't be at 5 times that dosage in 10 years. If you start on thyroid medication, or you're on pain medication, you're on a steroid, or you're on a blood pressure medication, the only guarantee is that that dosage will go up over time. And the reason is our body doesn't recognize those. They're not metabolites, they're synthetics, chemicals, pharmaceuticals. And so we build tolerances to those. So it's a long scientific way of saying you could take TMG for a long period of time.
Sage mentioned she takes the Thorne multivitamins. I did look into that. I was taking this Pure One multivitamin, and it has iodine in it. I have Hashimoto's and low thyroid. Should I not take it if it has iodine?
So switch to the Pure Ultra Multi. That's the Pure One. There's one called Ultra Multi, and you can start with a single capsule and work your way up to 3 capsules. The full dosage is 3 capsules. For
Thank
the record,
you so much.
No affiliation with them. No affiliation. No relationship at all.
Thank you so much.
I like it. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much. These challenges are like, I swear they're chicken soup for my soul. I get so much energy from these things. You guys have just completed the ultimate morning routine challenge. 3 days of dialing in light exposure, breath work, hydration, movement, recovery, performance optimization, habit stacking, like best ways to brush your teeth, best ways to hydrate, best ways to get sunlight. And I know that you guys didn't just listen, you took action, because I see it in the groups and how active the community is. And that's what separates people who just consume information from people who actually transform their health and performance. Nothing, I promise you, nothing is more inspiring to me than hearing the stories from this group about the transformative changes going on in people's lives. I really want your help. I need your help in growing this community. As I said before, I'm going to pour myself into this community. I'm going to use this community to put leverage on our sponsors. I'm going to use this community to get the message out, to educate you so you can inspire other people to transform their lives. And we're going to start next month taking people from this community and making them examples of what is possible with some of the struggles that they're having. I'm going to bring real licensed, competent practitioners to the table, and we're going to start solving real issues that you guys face or loved ones face in real time in the most authentic way possible, so that you guys can be inspired to live a healthier, happier, longer, more fulfilling life. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you guys for committing to take ownership of your mornings, because the truth is, this is just the beginning. And as a thank you, we got something special for you guys. So VIPs, here's what you've all been waiting for. Every single one of you is getting the free box of H2 tabs. These are the molecular hydrogen tablets that are a game changer. If you've already bought them, hold on to them. I'm still going to send it to you. They're a game changer for hydration and cellular energy and recovery for you science nerds that want to read the studies. I linked those in the show notes. You can click the link that my team is sharing. You can use code VIP100, VIP, capital VIP 100, and get your free box. It's completely on me. You're gonna have to cover shipping, but they're super light, and we'll take care of the rest. So again, use code VIP100 at checkout and claim your box before they're gone, because we have a limited supply. So I don't want you guys to wait, and it's free. And I hope that this has the same impact on your life that it had on mine. This challenge is ending, but VIPs, we are just getting started. Keep applying what you've learned. These small daily habits compound into massive results, guys. Stay consistent with your morning routine. Give it time. The results will come. You see the most impactful, successful people in the world, 3 of which what I put on the call today, all have a non-negotiable morning routine. So this is where you got to start. So join us for the next VIP monthly live call. So we're going to be back together very soon for our next exclusive Q&A. That's a live Q&A with me. I'm going to continue to do the podcast for you guys. That's where we're going to go even deeper.